I don't know. I'm glad we talked today, though. I'm feeling, you know what, seriously, when you can come here and start to see actually Lefty is a self-avowed asshole. It's not news to him, but he does it seriously out of a tenacity that few of us understand, because he shows up where nobody else does with a tenacity that I've only seen in my late great wife. And only that, yes, it wasn't their community, and it was the usual fare, except it was followed by Bong Holio, who had 10 years of addiction. And when he simply said, first thing I want to tell you is addiction is a full-time job. And everybody knew. I've never seen in all the meetings I've been to, when he was done, everybody applauded. All the people who weren't going to agree, they applauded. But what I got out of that and out of here today is we can have a civil discussion and disagree about stuff. We really can, you know.
Will you sit down and talk with us?
I'm not on, not on the air though. You know, it's cool. Yeah, man. Yeah, just stay out of range of the camera.
We'll get you off camera. Can you at least hear what you're saying? Because what you're saying is very important.
I don't have much to say.
Got it all the best information usually is that.
Because you have experience with this, just like I do. My brother-in-law died June 3rd, the night I was rebaptized. He died. My wife was crying last night over this. Yeah. Last night she was crying, hysterically, for like an hour, because I don't know what the answer is. I don't know.
The answer is what?
And I do apologize. Man. I'm sorry. Back
you know what? I just can't stand to look at people like that. Driving around Camden, driving around Newark, working, and seeing people doing the lean.
Let me find that for you.
You know?
I put everything
In your car?
What are you looking for? Down the street.
Whoa. Me and him had fights all the time. Me and Ed, we get into it. I get into it with everyone. I don't think I ever fought with you, though. Not yet. We're due for a fight. No, we're not. I'm kidding. I don't want to fight people. I fought people in Bayonne the other day.
I don't think it's cool if it's fake, period. It's like when I found out, like wrestling was fake and Jerry Springer was fake, I was like, what the fuck, It's gotta be authentic, that's what it is, It's all about authenticity.
I'm a very emotional person. I'm a left-handed person. I'm emotional. I'm my right-brained.
That's it.
I'm wired that way. I'm not logical sometimes. I'm just not.
No, I mean, you talk about what they let us do and what they don't let us do. Look what they're letting you do right now, letting me do. Like the joint out front.
Yeah.
This is we do have the best in the country public consumption for patient laws, including California and Colorado, including Nevada, everywhere else. We are allowed to do this. The state police, yes, we're allowed to do this where we're 25 feet from a doorway.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, this is state property, so Trenton police won't say anything. We used to have to go.
Would you have ever thought 20 years ago that you'd be out front of the governor?
20 years ago, let me tell you.
Actually,
I ask myself, I smile about this a lot, because when I pushed the wheelchair across the state, it was 1993. And then when the law got passed, seriously, 10 years ago, I left, looked up and said, see you later, I'm done. I thought getting the law passed was the success. I had all this experience, and I had to learn the hard way. I'm not as smart as I think, because I never saw it coming, And then it's become clear that that is where with my significant other. And you know me, I might be leaving the tip, but I'm not paying for it, because that would be money that I will run out of medicine to a degree. But then, if nothing else, it's just because I got enough people that love me, because they won't accept presidents with them.
Bob carting that joint, damn it.
Pony up.
What's the matter with you?
I apologize.
Etiquette, man, etiquette.
Really?
I'm going to tell you about etiquette. Yeah, right. Sure.
You wrote a good song about it, though.
I did?
Yeah. Don't pass to the left.
God.
Okay.
Dana, what can I call you? Wordsmith Dana. What can I do better?
Don't be asshole, man.
What can I do better? Seriously, what can I do? What can we do better? What do we need to do to help? Dude, 8 out of 10 people that are addicted die.
Yeah, we'll have to paraphrase it if you don't hold the mic.
It's all about accountability.
Yeah.
I don't want to really hold this mic. I don't want no.
Hold it for
Accountability. You know, it's
all about
perfect.
accountability.
On both
I mean,
sides.
why
Everywhere.
why does my brother, the golden child, where he's at right now, you know, they're giving him jobs, they're giving him free rent, giving him this. Nobody ever gave me nothing like that, and I never wanted it.
Prodigal son. You ever read that in the Bible?
No, I don't know. Absolutely not.
There's a story about because you were always there for your dad, but he wasn't. He was gone. He was dead, but now he's found. But you were always there, so that's why you're treated different. That's what the Bible says. That's what the Bible says. I'm just saying.
It says a lot of things.
Yeah.
The guy lived in a whale, I heard. They taught me that here in Trenton. The guy lived in the fucking whale.
I think the whale was stunned. The whale could have been stunned.
Was it a metaphor? I don't know.
Could be.
I hope it is.
Jesus said it wasn't.
Sons. One of them is my mom's son. One of them isn't my mom's son. They're both on dope. Not my blood brother. The other one has kids.
And when you say on dope, just to be clear, that would
On
be
heroin, on pills, I guess. I don't know.
mean, some
exactly.
people, it means different
Well,
things.
dope is
to be
pot too.
clear.
I mean, when
Yeah,
I'm talking
it's
to an
true.
older, to
No,
a hip
I know,
older, you know.
I know what you meant. I was pretty sure, but I'm the one that clears
It's
up
like-
for.
My mom likes to say it was partly my fault because I was in a coma back in the day when my brother was a kid, and she didn't get to pay enough attention to him. Go figure. Go figure. Don't put this on my Facebook because I don't ever want her to see me saying that. But go figure. Let's push the blame as far as we can until it's so far in the corner. My brother's in Egg Harbor now. Nobody sees him, so he's fine, right? He's obviously fine.
A lot of enabling.
The best shit. I used to snort that. Oh,
You know why?
it would fucking make me throw up 4 feet in front of me and shit.
You know, I'll tell you why.
How do you become addicted to that?
I'll tell you why I never did, and finally being the old guy counts for like going way back. But there was hard and soft drugs when I was in high school in the '60s. Hard drugs were anything that wasn't marijuana, hash, or mushrooms. Everything else, pusher man is saying there's dealers and there's pushers. They're different. Dealers are going to be your marijuana.
You get this out of your system when you're young. If I could tell
But
you how
but
much
but the
dust
fact that to drugs, because what happened, lying about other things, you go on. But the gateway theory is telling you, oh no, I tried some marijuana, I was drinking. Now I'm going to use heroin.
honestly,
Yeah,
I never would have smoked crack if it wasn't for pot because they sold the crack at the pot spot.
Right,
they
yeah.
sold the dust, the crack. That's
Yeah.
how I tried the heroin.
Yeah,
and it was
but-
if I never smoked pot, I never would have done none of that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to cheerlead for these other people, but
Yeah.
the fucking Haney, because of I wanted the pot, the big dime bags, they were this fucking big, fat.
That's also a good argument for legalization. One thing about the program, although I feel like I'm being run over to coals anytime I got to pay money for it, I'm not worried about. I know. Well, there were contaminants. But okay,
They got this stuff on sale. It's $100 a quarter.
I've eaten dirt before. If I found something laying in the road, I'd probably light it
Listen,
up.
it's $100 a quarter for the mimosa right now. That
Yeah.
strain is beautiful.
It is.
That's amazing.
It
And
is
it was
amazing.
supposed to go off sale on the 15th or something, but they just extended the sale, I guess. I don't know.
Really?
That stuff is beautiful.
Yeah.
Smells
I
good,
had-
tastes
yeah.
good, energetic, gets me up.
Tastes
gets me
amazing.
straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Purple Punch and
And what is that
Clementine.
Mimosa.
called?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that. one.
Fruity, very fruity, very citrusy.
Oh, I love fruity.
Oh, it's the best.
I do. You can taste it in your
It's so
nasal
good.
passages
It's
a
so
little
That
bit.
is what it is.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I was prescribed medical marijuana. I get an ounce and 3/4 a month. I have a great doctor, Dr. Mir Shahid in Pennington. Awesome, awesome guy. And I got it for anxiety. I'll be honest. I smoked that mimosa. My anxiety's worse. I can deal with it a lot better. But it gets to the point where I'm still having almost chest pains from anxiety and
It's a
shit by
sativa.
myself alone.
That's a sativa. My friends with PTSD,
Sure,
they
sure.
stay away from sativas
Sure.
because
But
their
I
minds.
gotta function. I gotta work. You know what I mean? I gotta stay on my feet, not in the couch.
Yeah. Find the right strain that works then.
I
A hybrid,
I
maybe.
try 'em all.
Good shit. That's a good start right there. I like that philosophy. You need to have like 2 or 3 that you can go to because after a month of one strain, you kind of need to switch.
Oh sure,
You know.
sure. I like Lemon G from
Oh,
Breakwater.
yeah.
I mean, it's very big, very fluffy. Not much, it's not dense
Yeah.
whatsoever. But oh my god, that stuff smells like heaven. If heaven exists, I'm sure it smells just like it.
The oil's amazing too. Have you tried the
I'm
oil?
not so into that.
No? It's expensive.
It's good when I'm walking around the mall, or
Oh, you want to vape in the mall?
If I'm in public.
Really loud challenge, baby. Wow. Well, what we've seen here in Trenton has been very sad. People come by the podcast all the time in wheelchairs with no money, with no hope, and they're like, what do we do? What do I do? How do I get cannabis? They can't afford it. People in the hood can't afford it. They're priced out. They're literally priced out.
I mean, like I said, I'm on Medicaid through New Jersey Family Care, and I go with Dr. Mir Shahid. Is on his 1400 Pennington Road, and he is the best. He'll teach you everything you need to know about cannabis.
Really?
He's
Good.
the best. I went to him yesterday because I was in the hospital early this week. I had some swelling around my heart in the outer sac of my heart. So they give me all these pills. He says, listen, Dana, throw all this crap away. Because they gave me a pill to take care of one pill, to get the Nexium to take care of those 2 pills.
Yes.
And I'm taking them, and I'm itching like
No,
crazy.
there's
They
a
got a pill for that, too. They keep
Right,
going.
right. I
Keep
gotta
going.
start taking the Benadryl. The doctor looks me in the eye. He says, take the ibuprofen for the swelling and throw the rest of it out. I said, well, how do you throw pills out? He said, dump that shit in the garbage.
Yeah.
I never had a doctor say anything like that to me.
That's a good doctor.
He's the real deal.
Yeah,
man.
he's a good guy, then.
Absolutely.
Stick with him.
Well,
You don't-
it's like when I had to find a new doctor to keep me in the program. Facebook's good for at least that. The first person I tried, it cost me $25 for the year now, cash.
Right.
Because I'm on Medicaid, and I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, I didn't go through my Medicaid when I did it. I paid all out of pocket. That's
No, but if you're on Medicaid,
right.
he only charges $25
Right.
for me.
Okay.
It's a sliding scale, and the fact that that's the end of the sliding scale, his time doing everything, maybe more. Guy outside in the office also working on this, doing all that, and he nets $25. He's taking a loss on me.
So sure.
Which tells me I like him just for that. I trust him just for that.
My doctor told me, stop smoking all that shit you're
He
said,
He went too far, Doc.
And,
I mean,
and,
I don't know.
And have you?
Oh.
That's kind of how it sounded a little
That's
bit.
exactly what it is. It's not how it sounded.
Well, I gotta say.
But from what I understand, I had her like that, which my doctor, he looked at me and said, don't come here to recertify. Come here with a headache, and I'll recertify you.
There
So
you
we
go.
can do it on your insurance. You know what I mean?
Smart.
Yeah, I had poison ivy, so I went in for poison ivy. I said, Doc, can you recertify? He says, yes, it'll be good for a year now. Okay.
Now, how much are you paying again for the recert? How much is it?
It was free.
Nothing at all.
No, I had poison
Zero.
ivy all in my hands. So he prescribed me prednisone, and then I said, ... I'll recertify you now too while you're here.
For nothing.
Yeah.
That's
the real deal.
my doctor charged me $400. $400
Mine
back
was
in 2000.
150.
And he's out on a golf course now.
Filled up her yacht a couple times with gas.
Again, that's their prerogative. That's the playing field. We don't have to go to them, generally speaking. But
They got enough to go through. They don't need stress. They really don't.
This doctor is my primary doctor now.
Good.
I see him for everything.
That's what I did too. Smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's so behind it. He has classes on Wednesday night, and he just teaches people about how you smoke, what you're smoking, what you're doing.
really,
We got to call that guy.
I'll give you his card. Card
Yeah.
before I leave.
Talk to him, man.
I'd like to have his card, or at least a contact. That's the kind of thing people should know.
Yeah. He sounds
You
like
know,
someone we need to talk to. Oh yeah. Thank you.
But it's also that kind of thing that, social media is not good for a lot, but it is good for spread. I even told my doctor, I said, I appreciate that $25 price, and if people ask me, I'm going to say, do you mind if I steer people here? And when I didn't know, it would be real nice if there was, at least the coalition could put on its website a list of recommendations. Word is good enough to tell other people about that.
They open at 7:30. They open the doors. They take appointments today. The office is packed with people.
Really?
I think I learned about him on Tinder, talking to a girl, talking about cannabis, just chatting. She said, go see this doctor. I laughed at her. And I called him the next day. Said, yeah, we take walk-ins. You don't even need an appointment. I went in with no appointment, and He took
What's
my
next?
picture and
House
everything.
calls?
Well, they say that delivery is coming.
Yeah, I really do believe that now is, and I've been waiting years to say this, the best time for patients to use the front door again after a decade to petition for a standalone bill to then get what was voted on and passed by the Senate. The same bill, 13 states went before New Jersey. They all had home grow provisions.
Right.
We decided not to, but we didn't decide not to. Her watched in disbelief. And now is the time, but patients are going to have to realize that if there's an opportunity presented, they need to take part, and I mean without leaving the comfort of their home. Keypad, somebody else do it for you. We have the...
And this is step 2. Now we're waiting on step 3.
Well, this is the decade-long wait. We're owed a couple of quick steps now. There was no reason for it to be a decade, and basically I would say, how did it work out? In other words, they haven't even monitored how it worked out in other states and how it worked out here, but the fact is, people, for instance, a father has to decide when to be in pain because he knows he doesn't have enough medicine, and you make a miscalculation and people know you're doing that for him. How does it make his kids and his wife feel that dad's trying to be in pain without us? All that because he couldn't grow a weed in his backyard that they could grow for him. Now, there's a lot of other steps in between. I was all about getting rid of the sales tax because every 15 months of paying sales tax, you get a free month's worth of medicine if you got that all back. That takes away a month of medicine. So it's up to Wayne. That it is step by step, but unlike a lot of things when you do individually, it's not linear steps. It's not one direction. It's parallel courses that intersect, go together, like a map going one way. So there are multiple steps being made in a parallel fashion. And I'm hoping to make a breakthrough with a website where patients can see other patients putting their... If you see a selfie
That's
of
a
a patient
$1 million
saying,
idea.
Yeah, and
It's
I'm
$1 million idea. If you can connect with fellow stoners all over the country via...
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be people from New Jersey. The message
Sure.
is the same. What do you give up when you have to pay for this medicine, which medicine shouldn't... There should be other ways to pay for it, and that you have to pay cash. But it all started with me. It was such a simple thing at the dispensary, crowded, and a woman, perhaps 35, I asked her, and she said, I haven't bought new clothes, except underwear and socks, in 3 years, and neither has my husband. And I said, well, your husband, is he a patient? And she said, no, he loves me. And I thought, holy crap, they haven't bought new clothes together so she can have medicine that she could be growing. But she doesn't have that say. I'm here to give people that voice. If it's going to be a table discussion, let's have it. But one thing Cheryl never allowed, and you can go back and read things, when she was quoted, I was never there when reporters talked. I wouldn't be there. I'd remove myself. And one thing was clear, her phrase is no more hit and run. That's what it meant. If you're going to make a decision that affects my life, you're going to have to justify it to me. Through somebody, I don't need to see you, but it's hit and run. Decisions made, and then I don't have to. So it turns out my significant other, my better half, she's watching. She's great. She's got an appointment. Going to have an appointment with Herb Conaway. That's her legislator, and I'm going to go with him. And we're going to start to find out why he has the option of saying, I'm not going to tell you how this worked out, is revoked. It just hasn't it hasn't been delivered yet. Step by step, you know?
On another side of it, well, who's the last guy you know that got busted for home grow? I mean, you got the numbers on how many people in New Jersey get busted for home grow?
I don't hear about it a lot.
I heard about a guy in Berlin or something got popped with 85 carts, vials, you know. And that was a while ago. I don't need to do that. But
if I would, if I had my place and all, but I'm staying at somebody's house that is not my own house.
Go take some land in the woods, man.
I've done that.
Go take some land in the woods.
I've done that.
Keep it a secret.
There's some very happy deer in Silverton about 15 years ago.
Healthy deer. They were getting CBD
healthy.
at least.
No, I've done. I would concur with that. Thing is, seriously, even where I am, you think there'd be a place. It's a manageable water supply. Getting to park. How do you get to and from bicycles? You know, the whole thing. Next year, something like that. Every harvest time, every end of September, I think, it'd be almost ready. It would. But it is that it got passed in the Senate. It's going to get discussed because the whole cluster shock that is New Jersey.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to think about that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we can't take time to do certain things, and right now, these 14 senators who did vote for home grow in the first version of the bill, they're running for re-election.
Like Sweeney?
Yeah,
Yeah, he voted for home grow.
he did.
Shocking.
Yeah, he's one of the 14, and it's only 40 senators. It passed 22 to 16 10 years ago. So out of those 22, like 2/3 are still there. But my problem is now a little bit with them. I don't know. Maybe they can explain it to me, because I don't presume to know what it's like, and I know you do have to make deals and do things certain ways. I get that. But how do you know what's going on with patients and stay quiet, having already told them I'm with you on this and I'm voting on it? How has this not been discussed by these senators who don't know why?
It's frustrating.
Yeah, right, and thanks for that, too.
Pharmacy.
You obviously have cannabis out your ass. If you guys have
Thanks, brother. I'm keeping that one.
Yeah, listen. Almost.
That's very helpful.
Yeah, that's talking about my sweet spot right there. Like, hey, I did research on Jim. Let me say this. Watch him. Like the RCA victim.
I can't hear you. Mary, have we met before? We've met before, haven't we?
No, we haven't.
No.
No.
Okay. On
No.
Facebook? Facebook friends?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I'm a big fan. I mean, just recently I got onto it, and I just wanted to say, if you want anybody, I think that's hysterical. I think that's awesome, man. And it's funny because my son is a police officer, and he was just telling me, like, they're just so confused with with all the.
Really?
Yeah.
Why are they confused? What's going on?
Well, it's just it's so new, and
But then again,
and their
it's not.
perspective is they don't.
It's 10 years new.
Yeah, they say that because they don't know, and there's no research and there's no training. There's no
I hear that from, in court a lot. Ignorance is no excuse for the law.
Right.
Well, that works both ways. You can't be taking medicine from a patient who are within their rights, and be a police officer wherever you are based. State Attorney General's guidelines were sent there, but they didn't get to the people on the street. But they were sent there, so it's partially State Attorney General's fault for not following up. Should be mandatory. I know they have monthly meetings or something, I would assume, at the very least, to where all shifts, everybody gets it discussed and whatever it is. But to go with Lefty on some of the original things was very revealing, because it was so simple in its nature. I'm a medical marijuana patient in New Jersey. I am legal. I have a registration card. I have my medicine
Thank you, Dana.
purchased from New Jersey on me. I'm in pain, and I'd like to use my medicine. Where's the nearest place to here that I can do that without you arresting me? Like, boom. And it would, a couple of times, at least back then, it would be they'd have to take time to call the prosecutor's office, because they would know that they wanted to go right to the end of the line, to save him some trouble.
Yeah.
And this is a matter of taking patients' medicine from them and saying, you'll get it back. The court will sort this out. But they don't have medicine now. Like, you get your car fixed, you get a loaner. Yeah, let's sort this out. But until then, I get to use it. How about put the burden the other way around? erring on the side of caution would mean let somebody go.
Yeah.
Although we have heard occasionally when patients are asked about their status and don't have a card, it'd be like, well, just stop and go away. You know, in other words, okay.
That's happened.
But, you know, I'm not going to take it.
Right.
Yeah. Courthouse. He didn't have his card, but the sheriff said, okay, bring it next time. And he never brought it. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little. I'm pretty much in my home or where I know where I'm not going to be. I'm not brazen enough to be like walking on the boardwalk or walking down the street or anywhere, like you said, you could smoke cigarettes. You know, just, you know, not there yet.
Well, you smoke where you have to. If you're in pain and you have to smoke, you smoke.
Yeah.
I still don't go to great lengths, but I hide it if I'm in a Wawa parking lot and I think I might want to, you know, have a puff or two. I don't park right out front, and, you know, I just turn my head. I mean, I'm not sitting there blowing smoke out the window. I can leave my windows open. I like the way it smells. I don't even care about that. I haven't been noticed, as far as I know.
But you don't have to worry about that being in the odor in your car, and then you're gonna think you're, you know, doing that, while you're driving.
No. It's that would have been before I started driving, and I can't get rid of the smell. It's called the cloying effect. It's the same thing skunks have in their smell. How it gets stopped, and somebody's gonna say, "I smell a marijuana." I go, "Fresh or burnt?" You know, let's be clear.
Right.
You know. Feel the same way I used to when I pull up here for a podcast and I want to have a quick smoke before I get out, because I am a legal patient now and I get to do that. So, you know, I appreciate that. And then we do have a good guidelines for use in New Jersey compared to other states. You know, you just can't consume it publicly.
Yeah, the one good thing about Jersey's law, the one only good thing, is that we can smoke in public, where you smoke tobacco. That's it.
I'm going to think hard. There's got to be something else.
No, there's nothing else. No, sorry, nothing else.
I'm going to think hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to get somebody to make me an app to identify is there something else, and it'll cross-reference it from like 85 different angles, and you'll come back.
Sorry.
So, change the subject here, but you know, when they do legalize it in the state, do you think that we're going to really, and they're just saying that patients are going to see a significant drop in their, you know, in their prices and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think it will. It will affect it. I would think after a while. But I don't think it's going to be significant enough. I mean, when they say significant,
in legal markets, so the price point for levels when it comes to quality and, you know, the grower experience, that kind of thing. So on a shelf, it'll be the prices. The scale will actually go a lot higher, I would think, where they sell diamonds and all that kind of stuff, right? But however, in terms of the volume that is going to be grown, the price of the less, you know, quality grown stuff, in other words, you know, nutrition-wise, whatever, you know, it may be.
Exactly what you wanted, and I've resorted to that myself. I do have favorites, but I might get small buds because it's cheaper and my 20% discount, and then get down to about 200 an ounce, and I'd probably be able to grow it for about 50 an ounce, 75 maybe, over 4 or 5. You take an actual look at the money spent, any patient takes a look at it, and what else they spend money on at all. It's really a sizable percent. It defies anybody else's imagination who does not use this for their medicine. That I'll get something because something will be better than nothing, and there's nothing much sadder than that when you're talking about medicine. And you know, the reason I can't grow my own is why it might get to somebody else that isn't a patient. So all patients have to suffer because that would happen, undoubtedly. It's happening now. You don't think, you know what's happening? Patients will get medicine for people who are not patients. And that person will then, in effect, give them enough money to buy some for them and for the patient. It's happening. I know. I can't tell you names. But all sorts of stuff is going on. And you know who it's hurting? Nobody. I'll tell you who it's hurting. It's hurting the illegal market when that happens because it's still done within the legal market. You can speak on.
It's hurting Jim Wayne? Jim Wayne hurts you? Yeah? He can't afford it.
Can't afford
Jim
it.
can't afford it.
Well,
God bless the black market, Jim says.
Yeah. So, but basically you can't afford it, but you are able to afford it on the black market.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's better.
So you choose health over legality.
Yeah, good for you, Jim.
Yeah, you should. I'm glad you can.
I
Some
gotta-
people, but you know, what bothers me is the people who can't. It's like the people who, well, I'm not going to break any laws. So when it's like, you know, they got kids too who Dad, come on, you're in pain. No, I'm not breaking any laws. It's the sadness never ends. That's why if there was a website, and there will be, where a selfie for 15 seconds and another, but correlated into legislative districts, so each legislator in New Jersey could at any given time go to this website and see what the patients have to say to him or her. And that's not the important part. Here's the important part. They also know anybody can go there and see what their constituents are saying to them. Anybody, anywhere can do that. Now that, my friends, bothers them, especially during an election cycle, especially when you get put on certain media outlets. Okay, let me put that in my
You know what
Rolodex.
bothers him a lot? When you call him on the podcast. Why don't we call him on the podcast?
No, I'm going to be.
Let's call him right now.
But you asked
I wanna
why.
call him right now.
No, listen, you asked why, and now you're not letting me answer.
Okay, go ahead.
I get that stuff from inside there, man. I don't
Okay.
use the podcast,
ahead.
you know.
Go ahead. Just ready to press. There's the button.
My significant other, that is her assemblyman. And she made, meaning I made a request for a meeting several days ago to him as a first-time contact constituent.
Oh, you and that front door stuff.
Who? No. This is front door, and then the cape comes off, and it's me. You know. See, the thing is, she made a request to talk with somebody on staff because this could take a little bit to understand.
Yeah.
And a staffer, without answering any questions, will be able to understand it and put it in a form that the assemblyman can get much quicker than I. You know. So we're doing this knowing you can't say no to that. It has to happen, and that her significant other, me, is a patient. And the issue is it's unaffordable through what it costs, and we'd like to talk about it.
Did she get the meeting, or she's waiting?
No, she's still waiting, and I give a week first, you know, and then it gets hand-delivered by me, and you just want to talk to a staffer. So what it is there's two things, though. It's, yes, we need to know, and not a soundbite, and not a written statement, and a discussion, on record, recorded discussion, how this happened and why. And anything short of that is unacceptable because patients need to know that to start at the beginning to fix the problem themselves.
Well, who was in the room that day? Mary Pat Angelini, Senator Carroll, Assemblyman Carroll,
Yep.
and Conaway.
And Conaway,
and
Gusciora
was there.
You mentioned Scutari,
Sorry,
Carroll.
they all know. And it's Mary Pat Angelini, from what I understand.
Okay, now Assemblyman Carroll was asked on your podcast by Wayne.
Yeah?
What did he say?
He kind of alluded.
He
to-
alluded. He thought. I thought the governor. You know, in other words, I thought the governor did that or whatever. He thought wrong, and he knows better. But he's still here through mid-January when he leaves office. But more importantly, there are 14 senators who are their colleagues. We shouldn't have to be the ones to ask. We should be able to be, if you're in one of those 14 districts, out of 40, that's 1/3 of the state lives in a district that has a senator that had voted yes. That senator should have to find out. It's a legitimate question. They should have to find out. Herb Conaway needs questions from his colleagues as well. So we hold them responsible and say, thanks for nothing. You let.
We'll call him. Give him a call. Let's call Mr. Carroll then. Go right to the horse's mouth. He doesn't give a crap. He's leaving office. He's a lame duck. He's out of here. Maybe he'll give us some dirt.
Yeah, well, you could call him and get him on the phone. I'd talk once you get him on. I'm not going to initiate a conversation.
Okay.
You can.
I'll do my best.
You'd say you're sitting with somebody that was in the room that day at the podcast here. By the way, we've met. He wouldn't remember. We talked a long time ago. I've talked with everybody.
You have reached the office of Assemblyman Michael Patrick Carroll. Please leave your name and number, and someone will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Perfect. Oh, we're being transferred. I thought we were leaving a message. It's the carousel of... It's the carousel of phone calls. Carousel.
Please leave a message at the tone.
Hi, this is Lefty Grimes. We are doing a podcast outside the State House, and I'd like to speak to Michael Patrick Carroll and we'd like to speak to him about the cannabis issue, about home grow and why it was taken out. The people that were in the room that day were Herb Conaway, Assemblyman Carroll, Reed Guscura, who else? I'm just saying, I don't know. But I would say because she had a lot of...
You don't want to guess.
I don't want to guess, though? Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. But patients really, we don't know.
Find it. He can find out.
Yeah, I think he might even know, and he can tell us.
You can find out.
And you can find out. That'd be great. So.
Want him to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're out here doing the podcast. We're out here every Thursday for 5 years.
Well, when Wayne Burrini asked him that, his answer was inaccurate when he asked him on your podcast from about 9 months ago.
Oh, he said the governor or something?
Yeah, it was inaccurate, whatever it was.
Yeah, we weren't sure, so.
Well, I was there that day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
I was there. So.
That was a good phone call.
Yeah.
We'd like to continue the conversation.
Yeah.
So.
And I wasn't prepared. Is you can drop off anything hard copy you want at the Assembly Majority and Minority Office, 2 separate offices in the Senate Majority Office and the Senate Minority Office. So that it's hard
Maximum
copy.
length recorded. Your message has been sent. Goodbye.
Oh, I didn't know we were still. You didn't tell me you're still on the air. You doofus. I was about to reveal my secret. You know. Oh, that's when it's really off now?
Uh-oh.
That's the one. You know what they do? They probably tell you it's off in just to hear you talking. I would. Really, I mean, if you had a thing there.
Brilliant.
You want to say, you know.
Before you hang up,
like
that
it's
son of
over.
a...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Smart. He's a smart cookie, Michael Patrick Carroll.
He is. He is smart.
Brilliant man.
And he has a good memory. What I like about him is it's always a no-nonsense discussion. I had a discussion with him in 1999. I think Alex Avila was a constituent. I forget who it was, but we went in and talked. And it was like one of those chess matches where you make a move and you hit the timer, and the other guy makes a move and he hits a timer, and you make. The conversation was back and forth so quick. There wasn't a pause. And at one point, I think after about 90 seconds, he took a breath, and I went, I win. Because it was, I did, plus this. Well, then, and went. And I really appreciated that. He was no nonsense. And I would trust him about as much as anybody to be telling the truth. You can't go head first into trust like that, but he's one of the ones, like you, too. I would trust you to tell the truth far more often than most anybody I know.
The hard truth.
Yeah. See, you and here are a lot alike.
I'll tell you stuff you don't want to hear. But you need to hear that. That's right, kids. Always tell the truth. Brush your teeth and tell the truth. You'll go far in life. And stay in school.
And listen to your teachers.
Yeah.
They're there for a reason. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah, pick their brains. They're very smart. Pick their brains.
Yeah. You get to learn stuff your parents don't know.
That's right.
No, really.
That's true. Your
And
parents don't know everything.
Then you get to go back and talk with your parents and know stuff they don't know. That's like fun. I always used to really like that.
Yeah, go shock your parents with some stuff.
So with information.
Good information, yeah. Learn something today and go home and tell your parents.
Yeah.
Like, Mom, guess what I learned today? You didn't know this, I bet. I'm like, good job.
This is where laws are
Learn
made.
something new every day.
You have a mic. You got a mic right there. It's on.
An involuntary twitch.
Reflex.
What? What?
That was just a reflex.
Oh,
naturally.
reflex. Reflex.
So I got intimidated by state police today. Did we talk about
Yeah,
that?
what happened with you? Now, you were down there protesting with a sign. Hold on, let me get your sign. Where's your sign?
It's on the other side.
Let me show you the
it's
sign.
on the other side.
First, you have to see the sign
speaking
to
there.
understand. This is great.
Oh,
Yeah, well, what
on
hap-
that matter, I just put my little 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
I think that the reason that they're not doing it is because allowing, just the homegrown patients, because they're making too much money.
Oh yeah, well that's
It's-
part of money is part of everything that's wrong with the program. Somebody's making money, but it's not just that. It's, I think, partially a lack of understanding that people in the state would generally support that law.
Well, I
mean,
think it's supported for patients.
yeah,
I
for
mean,
patients, it's for medicine. They
absolutely.
get to grow their own medicine.
And-
Well, anyway, what happened this morning was I came early because I don't know the parking situation, and I wanted to get the good spot right there. I get to put a sign on my car, get them from both sides of the sidewalk. That was my idea. But then I get down here and I thought, well, I have markers, I have blank sign boards. Let me make a sign and go stand in front of the governor's office because, I was told pretty quick that by a state trooper that I had to be across the street. He said you can't stand out in front of the building there. And it wasn't actually in front of the building, it was right by where you drive into the parking lot alongside the building. So I said, yeah, whatever you say. And I went over and leaned on the fire hydrant and held up the sign for about 20 minutes. And another state trooper pulled up, walked across the road. Just before he got all the way across, he turned around to actually read what the sign said. So what happened was he looked up and he read it, and it said something he didn't like seeing, so he said, you have to leave. And if you don't, I'm going inside for something when I come out. If you're still here, there's going to be trouble. And I asked him, where is it that I'm allowed to go? And he ignored that. He didn't want to have the conversation. He was just going to, okay, what's going on here?
Slav, why are you interrupting the podcast, Slav? Is that important? What's going on over there?
Yeah.
Is she getting a ticket? Did she get a ticket?
No.
Oh.
She has the parking thing, but she was going to take it with her.
No, you got to put that in your window, and yeah. There's a whole new process now here in Trenton, and they do patrol. They come up and down here all.
We are a public service being here, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Right by the kiosk. We're watching out.
Wow. So Jim.
So anyway, what happened was it was simply something that he was not going to want to discuss right down. Just then there was going to be trouble if he came out and I was still there. And I don't mind that, but that's not exactly the time. It's the place. You say it's not the time and the place. It is the place to deal with it right then. But I took a picture of his car, the license plate, so I could identify who he is. It was 845. Property that the state has any say over, would be up to Trenton Police. I don't know. I'm not about to not make a podcast finding out, on the fly. But we've had this problem before. I have a right to be walking up and down the street actually, or standing. I found that at New Brunswick. There was a complaint with me, you're not allowed a stationary picket. And I said, well, I'm not. Look at my feet. And at that time, I was taking 1/8-inch steps. And I said, granted, it's going to take a while to get there, you know. And that was the supervisor. They called the supervisor. And he heard that. He laughed pretty much too. And he said, listen, just don't buttonhole people. If you don't talk to people unless they talk to you, you know.
And you were really doing 1/8-inch steps. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't when I started saying it, but I started doing the steps when he looked down, you know. But it's dividing lines. You can't have a stationary picket, but you're allowed to walk. Well, how fast you have, you know, it's like a picket line thing, I guess. You know, maybe that's why they do that.
Yeah, you got to keep moving. Can't block the sidewalk, that kind of deal.
Yeah, but there should be somewhere, and I need for that to be established, and then I need for the ACLU to tell me if that's fair.
Yeah, why can't we redress the governor? Why?
We have the right to hang out
Yeah,
where he listen, we have the right to stand not where he drives in, but the which is below you, you know. So he gets driven in there. You're allowed to stand there and smoke a cigarette, or are you allowed to hold up a sign?
Yes.
You know, to do. I'll probably stop by tomorrow morning quickly, and so I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah. Hold on, what?
The state police support what we do.
Have
pretty
you
thoroughly.
invited him?
Yes.
Okay, the reason he called back is that was exactly what he needed to get what he wanted to get done. And that is the way it works. There's always the face, the person.
Yes.
And it was it. And it was well deserved.
Good job.
But it wasn't because he's compassionate. It's because
he's
he's
not.
business and he's taking care
They
of
don't
business.
care.
He's taking care of business. It wasn't for all the reasons that he would like us to think it is. And I'm saying that, not picking on him. I want a governor that can.
Really?
Literally.
Anybody there?
It's becoming the
definition
best part of the
madness
podcast, man.
God.
Doing the
Segregate
same
it.
thing over and over, expecting a different outcome.
Yeah, that's the Alcoholics Anonymous. Everybody.
It applies to this situation.
Yeah. No,
And it's clear that this is unhealthy, and
yes.
it's, you know.
I think it was really Will Rogers said that first, and I don't think he did, but it sounds exactly like him.
Gino Autry also.
On the same subject, but on a different subject.
Okay, what does that mean?
Did anyone
cryptic.
see
That's so cryptic.
that there was meetings between Delaware and New York?
And somebody
They're discussing the legalization of cannabis.
Yes.
Among them.
What does
Yes.
that mean?
The three of them are discussing what
Yes.
they're going to do because one doesn't want to go ahead of the other, I would assume.
Well, you know, you
What?
want.
I think they want to get it coordinated because if they legalize it in Pennsylvania and not in Jersey, I'm going to Philly.
Yeah.
If they legalize it in New Jersey, New York's coming here.
Yeah.
So they want to try to get it together where they can. Everybody has
And they
essentially
actually.
the same rule.
Here's my
the
question.
tri-state area.
Are you sure, Jim, that they would allow New Jersey in that discussion? Because
I don't know.
If I were from Pennsylvania or I were from New
But
York, I would not
I tend
want
to believe
New
that they
Jersey.
were meeting because the article I read was from
My-
Joanne Zito.
yeah,
So
but my
you know,
point
she's
is,
on the ball.
Why would they include New Jersey? What do we bring to the table? Nothing but bad
we don't bring
decisions.
anything. Neither
We
does
bring-
New York or Pennsylvania.
No, Jim. We bring something to the table. We bring bad decision making to the table. We bring an example of what not to do in the past. So we do bring that, but we'd have to admit our own mistakes first and say, yeah, we did screw it up. Or we could blame it on Christie pretty much, but you know,
Why not?
Whatever works.
Let's blame it on
you know.
Christie.
But you know, it makes perfect.
Blame a
it
lot on
makes
Christie.
well, it's
Right. Well,
turbulence.
I think that's a big step in the right direction for the three of the tri-states to get
Yeah.
together.
Well,
and
you
try
know,
to figure it
and
out.
I know it's not exactly
Because
a,
you know, all of
yeah.
a sudden now
They have no other
everybody's behind it.
Because when
I
the
would assume legal.
They're not
then
starting to cross
from-
the border.
from
They've been
one-
crossing the
well,
border
well,
forever.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's like I would like to be able to go to Philly in a concert
It's not
and
a-
take my meds with me.
It's not about marijuana. I just want whatever you call them in Australia. And when they couldn't take a train across country in Australia because they didn't get together when he's not on.
It's proprietary stuff. Sorry, Jim.
I said so they need to all get on the same track.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's good that they're meeting. So
It is. I agree.
I hope.
They should.
Maybe it'll come sooner because New York's looking to do it fast.
Yeah. Well, there's no reason not to. When you know you're wrong and it's a big deal, fix it quick. The 6 plants that were passed in the Senate version of the bill 10 years ago met with much outcry from patients that it was the strictest and least amount. Our original bill was be that hard to say we want a copy and paste bill. You already voted for it. How about we take exactly, it would change in regulations anyway. So the joke is it wouldn't be exactly when it got regulated, but to say, in all seriousness, just copy, paste it, and vote the same way you did the first time. Or has something happened to change your mind and think it's a bad idea? There are 14 senators. We have 14 doors with feet in them.
I read somewhere that one of the big sticking points on legalizing marijuana in New Jersey is gummy bears. They want to
Gummy
outlaw
bears
gummy
don't want it.
bears.
Why?
Gummy bears don't want it.
Because they don't want it appealing to children.
All right, so make them gummy dicks.
But they have
fine.
Yeah, but they have gummies for children with Adderall and
Only Lefty
they
will buy
do.
those.
gummy
and
Adderall
no
and
one
gummy
else.
this and gummy
Yeah,
that.
make gummy
you
dicks,
know?
and there you go. You can't serve children gummy dicks. There you go.
Yeah, but
Problem solved.
not all of us would eat a bag of dicks.
That's not what I heard. One of the councilmen in Oceanport had a bag of gummy dicks sent to his house. He's very upset.
I love it.
He blames Jeff Oakes, and Jeff Oakes did not do it. He wants to do it now.
Well, we should.
He should now.
With his return address.
Yes.
Nothing
Yes,
illegal.
with a ret-
He's sending them snacks. I mean, you know.
Yes.
Well, I remember when Weed Man, he would send out joints.
Joints to Christie.
So possibly.
He might have done a little personal research. You know,
I don't blame him.
that would explain some things. That's
No. Cannabis doesn't make you stupid.
I wanted to. That's another thing. I think Lefty. I'm going to see if I can go through proper channels and pass him an earnest invite to be a call-in on the podcast.
Sure, it sounds great.
Why not?
Hey, Dan. What's up, my man?
What's up, Dan?
Danielow.
Hey, how are you?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm sorry it took me forever in the day to get down here. They're not doing much in there.
No,
now.
they're not. No.
Less than usual.
Less than usual. Wow. That's really nothing. Think they're drinking in there now, or?
Probably a little. No, it's a very quiet day. Half of them are probably in Atlantic City for the convention or going down.
What convention
For
is
the
that?
Democratic convention is tonight and tomorrow.
Oh.
So
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Really?
So yeah, I'm actually
Where?
doing. It's in Atlantic City in Harris.
At Harris.
How
are you?
Caucus.
What's the plan? I mean, you go to where they're staying, and in other words, there's a convention there. They're all going to be there. How do you and where do you interact with?
Well, you go to the convention. You talk to people. Then meeting people, seeing people you haven't seen before. So it should be interesting that way.
You have to have a press pass to get in?
No, I'm just going
Right.
as like a regular person. I operate in a very gray area between like politics and media, that way, versus being like an official journalist.
Okay.
Versus being political hack advocate.
Okay.
Yeah. And a political hack and then an advocate. So it all kind of blends together in me.
It does. Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I know the
In
feeling.
that way. So it's really
Got-
interesting because you
Gotta
can't
have
do that.
gotta have one of them hats that guy Mr. Drucker had on Green Acres, because he'd be the post office guy and he'd turn it around and he'd be somebody else. You need a hat with like brim.
Oh, that's
brims that
funny.
just fold up, or one that you could fold back. Like a calendar hat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Or like Benny Hill, he turned it to the side. I love that. That's awesome.
Good like old time reference, Benny Hill. Yeah.
You
See
know
the guy between the doors? They were always like running around with the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
No,
That's
well,
a good
yeah,
one. That's a
that-
good
yeah.
reference.
Yeah, that was a pretty good show. I like the British humor myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big Monty Python fan myself.
Yes.
I have to still see that once every couple of years. Search for the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
There's more references in my life that I send out to that people don't know.
Yeah.
What kind of swallow? Migratory swallow. the peasant is eating dirt and explaining, I thought we were an autonomous autonomy.
Yes. Yes, it was
The
really funny. Yes.
juxtaposition,
Yes. No, it's really funny. Like his specific politics.
Yeah.
If you ever get into the weeds of like what he's saying is
Yeah.
like really funny. So, because I met a guy that was like that, like understood And like he was explaining it to me, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's really funny." Versus like, "Oh, like I am the king because of the lady gave me this sword, and I have the crown." I was like, "Oh, fucking asshole here!" Like, see this violence inherent in the system.
I also used to call Cheryl, liken her to the Black Knight.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Well, it was
Just a
like
flash
Cheryl can only move her head in a wheelchair. Like, come back here and fight, man, you
Oh
coward!
man.
You know, I mean, it's the equivalent. Don't you see it? It's like she was chasing. I was pushing her in her wheelchair, trying to catch Frank Pallone in an event, and he would take advantage of being more nimble through the crowd to where I had to abandon her, go walk up, and he was having a conversation with somebody closer than this. And I walked right up, like if this was him, and I went. And the guy was talking to Frank, and I'm like right there now, looking at both of them. He just backed up, and I had my conversation and said, "Hey, don't make somebody in a wheelchair chase you around.
Oh.
Come on over and say hi."
Oh, you fought so unfair back then.
And
Jim.
then
So unfair.
I said, Frank Pallone, I'm sure you remember Cheryl, this is Frank Pallone, the man that's been lying to you. And it was like,
ouch.
Mayor McGreevy was running for office then too.
Oh,
but
man,
yeah,
that's
but
good. That's good history of Jersey.
It was the
McGreevy
Black.
and Woodbridge.
It was the Black Knight, and it was, I had an appointment with Governor McGreevy for 6 days after he outed himself, and. The meeting never happened.
Oh yeah, I wonder why. Yeah, that's,
I mean,
that's funny.
I think
you've been at this a while.
Here's what happened. He looked at his calendar and said, "I got to meet with that guy and Cheryl. I'm doing this first. I'll get out of that meeting."
Wow.
And he went, and and all I could think of is, I was offended because he never hit on me. And we
you would have done anything at that point.
We had talks,
Would have went for it. Just get legalization. Take one for the team.
I got a great picture of Jim McGreevy and his wife and his daughter, who was 12 years old at the time. And we were talking about this and got a picture, but his daughter, I swear, had this pose, looking over at Cheryl. She looked like a little Madonna. Looking
Perhaps
at Cheryl while the adults were talking. She was the only one that got it out of that whole group,
Perhaps Governor McGreevy wasn't into bears.
And
Wow. Wow.
Nice.
Nah,
Wow.
I think McGreevy's actually speaking this tomorrow.
We try.
Really?
Yeah, so he's kind of rehabilitated within the party, which is
Yeah.
some sort of like elder statesman.
Well,
or something.
actually,
Hey, how are you?
wouldn't mind him weighing in on the issue. Say we had a meeting. I'd still like to meet with you. He would. I'll bet he would. I'll bet he would definitely meet. There are people I need to meet with.
We can find someone to take one for the team. We need that. We can find that easily. A bear, whatever. Hottie, whatever you want.
Okay,
Twink.
this is when I have my practice. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what a twink is? No.
Twink is like a skinny.
It's like it's a food, right? It's a
No. It's a type of gay person. It's a type of gay person who's like, I guess, skinny, very like upbeat. I think.
Yes.
Really? Okay.
I think so. It's like the opposite of the bear. Yeah. Yeah. That's like a twink versus like the bear is like a big guy. Like Lefty here could be a bear.
I could be a bear?
Yeah, you could be a bear.
I'm not a twink, that's for sure.
Okay, I'm taking the wheel here. I'm bringing it back to Canada.
We can let you be a bear.
Yeah. Anyway, so
don't make me go. Nah.
No, I'm one of the ones that's forced. You have to look for forced. You have to force me. They have a section for that.
For what?
Forced.
Forced.
Okay, I'm gonna take the
that
wheel.
type
I'm
person?
gonna make a very unpleasant sound. Everybody's gonna stop watching. Just saying, we got to get back to cannabis.
Left turn.
Yeah, so back to the cannabis
Yeah,
here. Back to the cannabis. We have Jim's got. I guess you're a patient in the system. Curaleaf, you've been to. I haven't been to any. I'm not in the system yet. I still need to see like a doctor because I guess from my issues we were saying last time I was here. And like people are saying that the dispensaries that do exist in Jersey are not that good versus like elsewhere. They don't have that many strains. There's very little diversity.
What they do have is the ability to make you legal and stop looking in the rearview mirror when you have something sitting in the front seat.
True.
But-
you know, and you are.
But why would they do that? Why would they do that, Jim?
do what?
Make anything legal?
Here's the deal. That's the playing field, and basically, it's a legitimate question. But what I answer that with is always, where do we have influence in? If we think of it as we don't have money to give them, a lot of my activism was based on public relations, damage control that does cost money. And say I can't give you something, but I can keep that from happening. I picketed Congressman Frank Ballone's house for a reason. He did what I asked.
Yeah.
We're good. I have now a reference. You know how many times I said, well, it's not that many, maybe 4, but I'll use him as a reference. If it's a Democratic legislator, I'll say, listen, let's save yourself some trouble. You call Congressman Pallone's office. He'll take your call. Ask him what's at the end of the line. Let's avoid all the trouble.
Yeah.
But, you know, let's at least know.
Yeah.
And I tell him, because as Congressman will tell you, there's certain genies you cannot put back in the box. And when I open that box, I used the big M word. I'm too smart for that. It said, here lives Congressman Frank Pallone. He lied while my wife died, and I had the memorial wheelchair and the roses and her picture and all that. You don't want that to happen again. Just abstain on this vote. And he changed his vote.
Nice.
And as I promised, I said I'd wipe the slate clean. I have. You know, I've been nothing but out of the way.
Yeah.
But you know, for me, I get this time of year, legislators are out and about. And I remember taking care of Cheryl one morning, and it was 8 o'clock, and I read that Congressman Chris Smith was going to be on the bus with other Republicans, and they're going to be at TGI Friday parking lot at 10 o'clock, and they're going by. Awesome. I had a sign, and I was holding it up in the back of the crowd. A semicircle crowd gathered around him, and the thing is, I was holding it behind everybody, and this is how he looked addressing the crowd. He would be talking and addressing the crowd, and he would look to the left, and then he would look to the right. He never addressed the crowd straight ahead because I was looking right at him. And he apparently couldn't do it. But my final say to him was, when the bus was getting ready to leave, the one that organized it came over and said, I think you really do have a good point. Could I have some of these for other people on the bus who might want to know why you're here? And I go, well, you do know I have a couple hundred copies, so you can tear them up if you want. He goes, no, I wouldn't do that. And I said, would you do me a favor and get a picture of me with my sign here? He said, of course. Now they're waiting. Back here. Oh, could I get over here? Oh, you know what? Why don't we do it the other way quick? And she was just being nice. And then after she took the first picture, I said, we need to get one more. And when she put her head down, I looked at the bus. And then back. It was just sort of like, I like letting people know I can yank your chain in many ways. With Chris Smith, though, it was the funeral flowers after Cheryl's service. I delivered them in my suit to the office. Delivery for Chris Smith. And Jim was just here. She's going to want to see this. And they looked scared, but glad I was going the other way. But then I showed up in his office the next week in Washington. We literally bumped into each other in the doorway. And he was kind of shocked. I gave him the funeral program. 2 weeks later, I was in his office, and I saw him walking from a copier right where I would be in front of me, so I stepped in front of him like in basketball, it'd be illegal. And he bumped into me, and I said, we got to quit meeting like this. He was so pissed. There was 3 or 4 guys in suits in his office who he had, I'm going to go make a copy, and they're all patting each other on the back probably, and all of a sudden he comes in, and he opens the door and he's screaming at somebody. They were the funny faces, like, what's going on? But it is about showing up, and that's why I stick with Lefty on times when he diverges from other people.
She is on probation. She's a medical cannabis card holder in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And her probation judge is taking her off her medical cannabis
in Pennsylvania,
so that she's now off her medication. Now she's having a lot of seizures because she's off.
Bet you there's some kind of money motivation around here somewhere.
You think?
Works well, though.
Oh, thank you.
That's fantastic.
All right, let's give her a call. My phone works. My phone better work now.
Yep.
Hey, it's working.
I go under the tongue.
So there was a rally this week in Pennsylvania, too.
Hello.
Oh, nice.
Melissa.
Hi.
Hi, you're on the air. It's Lefty, Jamie,
Melissa.
the whole gang. How are you?
How are you?
Gang's all here.
Gang's all here. How you feeling?
I'm actually feeling wonderful.
Oh, that's good.
Lefty was just kind of setting this up. And I don't know, I guess a few things don't add up in the short version. It doesn't sound like...
Hold on, I'm sorry. I can't hear you right.
Can you
Okay,
hear
I'm
now?
sorry. Now try.
Can you hear me
You're
now?
a little muffled.
That's Lefty's
Go ahead,
fault.
Jim.
Yeah, Lefty did run this by us, what happened, but that was just so we'd be ready to hear it from you, because it's hard to hear only once and understand what's going on.
Honey, I'm sorry. You're still really muffled.
Are you having a hard time hearing everyone
really-
or just the one voice?
Can you hear me?
I can hear Lefty.
Well,
So,
then-
Lefty, if you would please relay to me on what they're saying, I'd be happy to answer questions.
I don't know. Try this.
Okay, I have Lefty's mic now. And
Can
I'm,
you hear?
I'm enunciating as
No,
best-
no, you're still a little muffled. I don't know if it's Lefty. Are you sitting where Lefty is? Because I can't.
I don't think
I'm
it's
right
us.
next to him. We're like John Lennon and Paul McCartney standing on stage here, using the same microphone.
Can you try to speak up just a little bit, honey?
Yeah, could tell us what exactly, lay it out, what your problem is. Lefty touched base on it, but we need to hear it from you.
So you guys would like to know what my silent illness is? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Because my problem is I have a seizure disorder. I have multiple seizures. Never know when I'm going to have them, and they're grandma-like seizures. And they're back to back. Right now, not right now, because I had spoken to my lawyer. Obviously, I feel wonderful today, so I did not take those pills. So I feel great. So I am not under the gabapentin and the oxycarbazepine, and I'm not under the influence of Ativan. I'm not under the influence of triazepam, and I'm not under the influence of oxycarbazepine. With my seizures, the medication that I was unclearly told was that I had to stop using my medical marijuana because I am currently on probation for 2 simple assault charges. And for 2 weeks, I tortured myself. Over 2 weeks, I tortured myself with over 20 seizures, and had to take all these benzos. And my bottom lip is still horribly sore.
You had a drop seizure?
Because of, yes, I do, absolutely. I don't like seizures. Like, there's times where I fall over. For instance, about, I can't even remember. I'm going to say about a week ago, my daughter actually posted something on my MMJ page of what the story was that day. But they had...
Her mouth is tore up. Her lips are
That
fat,
day was-
and this is with a mouth guard in.
Yeah, I saw it. Saw the picture.
Like bloody all down her shirt.
Shocking. Good.
That day, it was very, very bad. And that night was very, very bad because that night I had woke up on my living room floor with my dog, who was pretty well trained with my seizures, who, like, he tries to use himself as a cushion and, tries to make sure I'm okay. But he was drinking my blood off the floor for me taking a hunk out of my lips.
So
I don't know how long I was out for.
On top of all of this medication, she has a diazepam gel system, a syringe that someone has to rectally give her when she's down unconscious in a seizure.
Syringe. So I'm a female, so they have to fidget with me in grandma-like seizures. So if I have jeans on and a belt, they have to be able to get that injection in my system ASAP And if I have to use 2 of them, they must call 911 because regardless, I'm going to stop breathing. With my seizures, I already stopped breathing. So I try not to authorize them to even, like, I try to refuse those injections. My family knows that under no circumstances are they even to give me those injections anymore. Because my feelings on this is, if I stay outside of jail and I continue to use my medical marijuana, I'll be on oxycodone probably the rest of my life because of my seizure disorder. I'll probably never be 100% off that. That's what I was in the process of trying to do. And if I'm not, it's more medications added and back on all the benzos, which I did not need, which didn't work with me well with me in the first place because I have 4 children who still reside at home and a grandson on the way. And they make me sleep. And if you have to give me the injection, there's days I sleep for 2 full days. Like I don't get out of bed. With just all the benzos that I take now, the other day when I was let me give you a story, for instance. The other day I was in Harrisburg, okay, that's the capital. Me and my daughter, my 17-year-old daughter, because of my seizure disorder, and I was not medicating at that time. I had to take somebody with me. I couldn't live alone at home. So I had to have somebody with me. I always have to have these injections carried with me. I can no longer drive. But I took her with me to the Capitol. And the Capitol was opened up my eyes, and it changed a lot. And
Can you speak right into that phone? I can't hear you too well. Speak right into that phone. Repeat that.
I said, going to Harrisburg, it changed my life.
Oh.
Being at the Capitol. Hearing everything that was being told. And I'm sorry, you might have to remind me and put me back on track because, like I said, today was only the first day that I was still able to, because I only got the phone call late last night that from my lawyer that my paper from my probation officer clearly states that I had 30 days to discontinue my use. So I tortured myself the whole damn time. But when I was in Harrisburg, we went for lunch, okay, with the reform team, which I am now an advocate for. The only advocate in Lebanon County, except for my 17-year-old daughter, is a great guy. We would love more advocates to join this team in Lebanon County. But when I went out for lunch that night with this team, I was on my other medications, and it came time to order. We went to a restaurant. It came time to order. I could not read the menu. My 17-year-old daughter had to read me that menu.
The medications that she's on, you can actually see talking to her.
The waitress asked me, what 2 sides would you like? I could not see the sides. So I asked her, what other things do you have? She said, we have mash and this. I said, mash is fine. So now what kind of vegetables do you have? She said, we have cornice and pineapples. Because I could not read the menu. I had to sit there with my mouthpiece in because I was embarrassed to have my injections with me at this meal. They were trying to take away people's human rights. And for people that, like me, and my fellow MMJ walkers, fighters, and my reform fighters, it's unfair. Because this medication is truly life-saving for me. And I can tell you when I went to Harrisburg, when I say it was an amazing thing, I sat down with so many senators, and I shook their hands, and they like me. I realized going to Harrisburg, God bless me that I came along many, many people so far, is getting my mouth, my voice no longer scared to speak on behalf of others as well as myself. I do. And I thank God that I went through this trial that I went through. Because do you know what God taught me through this trial? To never let my voice be unheard. Millions of people that were piling themselves through the Capitol steps. Some of them couldn't even make it in time. And I cried because I realized that I'm not alone.
That's right.
I am not alone in this.
A couple of things that people can actually do
this
right
fight is
now.
not only mine. I was talking to Jamie yesterday, I believe it was, and she told me where you guys are hurting me. That's what gave me strength to realize.
Right, you're at both state houses. 2 state houses this week. Good job.
It's amazing. And what did you find anything wonderful out for us?
Hold on. Can you hear Jamie? Jamie has something to say. Hold on.
She's actually talking about PA probation reform. It's Bill SD 14 and HB 1555. People can text the word justice, JUSTICE, to 21333 in support.
Yes, please, absolutely. Go to hashtag PA probation reform. It's a very simple way to get your vote in, to get your point across for the next time I travel, because that helps. You can also go to text that phone number that she had just given you. Just text the word justice. That's all I'm begging from these people. For anybody that's watching, just text it. Go to the hashtag PA probation reform. Takes 2 seconds out of your day, probation. If you work with somebody that knows with somebody that has been on, so please, it takes 2 seconds out of your day.
Is
Send that
also
vote.
organizing a walk on October 1st.
I can give you all the information for the walk. The walk is shared. It's an event. But this is all about probation reform, this walk. This is about getting the laws to change. There's so many laws that are wrong right now that I am damned because that's what it is right now.
It can make a difference if you use it, and
Yes.
your story is very welcome and beneficial to others who have not made their trip to Harrisburg or Trenton or wherever. You are an
good.
example
Thank
to be
you.
followed. You are definitely an example to be emulated.
In Lebanon, Pennsylvania, right at 9th and Cumberland. There's a big parking lot in Pennsylvania. It's right across the street from the herbology, our dispensary.
If anybody wants to go, I'm an awesome co-pilot. And
New Jersey, let everyone know that we count too.
Melissa,
we do.
Melissa, does from a drop seizure? I mean, does the judge realize this?
I believe he's opening up his eyes a little bit more.
some actual conversation I want to have about the judge when we're through the phone call with
Excuse me?
Melissa.
I didn't hear what you said.
I'm just saying that I have some things to talk about the judge when we're through the
Okay.
phone call with you. She doesn't want to get in trouble for being associated with any speak.
Because I thank the judge for, this walk is, I'm going to ask the judge for a letter. I'm going, on this walk, this is about trying to silence us. So the whole way down from my walk, I want to chant that we count too. Because we do. And I just want the whole world, this is going on live TV. I want the whole world to be silent. And then we're going to chant, we count too, as we all raise our head high. Because I need everybody in Lebanon County's office to win, to be on our side, to understand that these are all the...
And like a die-in, you can have like a die-in, but instead of a die-in, it's more of a drop seizure in.
What do you mean? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
A die-in.
Like I said,
A die-in where everybody lays on... Okay. Just an idea.
stopping traffic. Yeah, it was a wonderful idea.
No, not traffic, just the office. That's what
No, we can't do...
Okay.
Yeah, we're not allowed to do that, unfortunately. We're not, like I explained yesterday, my probation officer is an amazing man. He understands, he came to my house, he saw me have a seizure, so he completely understand that there can do, besides for the PA probation reform, which is the fact that it's freaking horrible. I mean, it's inhumane. What's being happened. To let them see how many people are truly being affected, because I am going to ask. I'm going to go inside the courthouse, and we are going to ask each and every officer there. They would write us a recommendation letter from all of Lebanon County to get this law passed. That is going to make a world of difference for us all.
This is anti-Christian.
Did you ask me, is he anti-Christian?
This is anti-Christian behavior. This is not Christian behavior. When you take a person who's suffering and you make them suffer more and you don't help them and you hurt them, yeah.
No, it's you're 100% right. I'm not arguing that at all.
It's awful what they're doing to you. I'm so sorry. I'm so glad you're fighting. Go down swinging.
Well,
yeah, because that's what we're all doing. We're all of us here. We're all going down swinging together.
Absolutely. We stand as one.
That's right. Thank you.
Every one of us, we stand as one. We are all united, and we all have the same rights to live our daily lives. And it is completely inhumane. It is considered inhumane to force somebody to take a medication that is mind-altering, which is a Schedule I drug, gabapentin.
Another thing, actually, with Melissa is a couple of her labs, a couple of her organs are not working up to par properly, and with the pharmaceuticals, that's not helping this situation either. So there's so many variables.
We all join together and shut Earth for anybody to use. In all reality, it's meant for anybody to use. Afraid of putting these people out of business. And so far, we're doing one heck of a job. We got one already, because all the states that are allowing this to be legalized, the anxiety medication, post-traumatic stress medication, DUIs. How about all that? How many law enforcement do you think are going to be out?
Jobs. I think they'd have more time to focus on things that are serious.
Yeah.
If they stopped wasting time on a plan.
In jail, a maximum of 500. They hold max 500. So there's a lot more than that on probation here in Lebanon County. I can guarantee you can't go into this gym. You tap anyone on the shoulder, they're going to tell you.
This patient in Pennsylvania, you might as well turn in your car because you're going to get a DUI no matter what.
I've had over 20 seizures in the past 2.5 weeks now. I don't drive. I refuse to risk the lives of others. I got out of the ICU back in, I believe it was January or February. I believe it was January I got out. January 15th and in February is when I've had maybe a handful of seizures in 10 months. I can tell you,
I
went 2 months straight.
That's shocking, disgusting.
And with all the pharmaceutical medicine that are supposed to stop my seizures.
Listen, we were talking about a workaround for you. I don't know if Jamie mentioned this to you, but will your doctor give you a prescription for? Yeah. Should your doctor give you a prescription for THC, Marinol? Problem.
We talked about this on FaceTime. I was seeing if there was someone that would write a prescription for the Marinol, so that if you were to test positive, the judge could shut up that there's a prescription for it from a regular doctor. It's a prescription and not a recommendation.
And it's federally legal. Hey.
Well, our goal is to get out of the pharmaceutical. I'm done with all that.
I'm not saying
no.
Take it. I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this. I'm going in front of the judge.
My late wife had a Marinol prescription, and but she used cannabis. But if she was using cannabis, The test doesn't differentiate between one and the other. There is a test that does that. It's about $15,000 to get done. I assure you that won't be done. So the point is if you test positive, it'll be from the Marinol, and that's really it's. I've known this to happen not just because of Cheryl, but I know other people that have had this ancillary benefit to Marinol, which may well help you quite a bit. I say that with exaggerated enthusiasm.
I completely respect what you're explaining, but you have to also please try to respect the fact that I have to do everything the legal way right now. And after that, I don't have to worry about that because I already am an MJ holder, Even though my money, like my medicine is going to cost me a lot more money than what it should in all reality.
The problem I'm having is the judge made a statement. It was in an article saying that maybe by a case-by-case basis. Who is going to review this case-by-case basis? Like him? A judge is going to decide who's medically worthy? And they've already been approved by the state. If he has a problem with that procedure or policy of how they do things, then he needs to take it up with the state, not her. She's already been approved by the state.
The state and the doctors who approved her. And the fact that they're totally disregarding that. Do we have a civil rights?
And we have a county judge
Stuff going on
enforcing
here?
state law, trying to...
Misinformation from you ladies, because these are all going to be points that I will be talking to him about. This is, you guys are giving me a lot of information that I can take into court with me. So I'm just going to sit back and listen to your conversation and appreciate this.
Dan, you got something to say? Sorry.
Yeah, no, just about the civil rights. This is like an important part of this, especially you're in these situations. I'm so sorry to hear this. This sounds like so intense.
Extremely intense.
Definitely, I would want to know exactly where the civil rights line is. I would even go as far as reaching out to the ADA, and really see there if there's something underlying in the ADA. Now, it's been many years since I've read the complete law. I know that there have been many updates, but isn't there an aspect of the ADA that says that the state and or federal government is not allowed? Again, like I said, I know things have been amended.
Is there any way that you guys would be able to send me a copy of that, please? Because, like I said, my memory is already affected from
the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. That's the original one. That is the primary point. And then go from there. I know that this has been a seriously argued point, especially where medical marijuana is involved, because you have the conflict of the ADA saying that the state and the federal government's not allowed to impede of the health and wellness of a disabled individual, yet at the same time, them not giving us free, safe access to quality medication is impeding on the life, health, and welfare of a disabled individual. So, there's been arguments over this specific point of the law since marijuana has become a thing. And I believe that this argument is the one that brought out the fact that the federal government is the one that actually holds the patent on medical marijuana or marijuana in general. I believe that is the root that brought that to light, because people were saying, hey, wait a minute. And then the government turned around and said, but wait a minute, we're still okay, because at the end of the day, we own the rights to use this the way we decide to use it. So we're going to use, I said Trump because it's a very
Supersede.
We got to get rid of that as a verb. Yes, thank you, Jim. Thank you for that. Thank you, Jim. We need to supersede.
No, it's a Trump move.
I don't like that as a verb anymore.
It's a Trump move to take the rights away from the people.
And the ADA saying level of health and wellness, just the frequency, duration, intensity of the seizures
exactly
over the past 10 months, in comparison to the past 2 weeks.
Isn't this judge trying to pull a Trump saying he knows better than everybody else?
Well, he's a judge. By definition, he doesn't necessarily know better, but by law, his opinion will count more than anybody else's. So,
But
got more power.
when did a judge's word become more powerful than a doctor's?
1893.
You know, that's what's so disgusting.
Taking a shot.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's the root of it. But how are we saying that we're protecting patients when we're not paying attention to what doctors want?
It's the playing field, though, unfortunately, and I share your angst because it certainly shouldn't be that way. But unfortunately, they figure it out or change it, because that's sort of falling into the trap of being sidetracked.
Right.
But you do need to point it out and make sure it's out there. But
I mean, I have to go to
don't spend
Philly.
a lot of time worrying about
I
it.
have to go to Philly to get medical supplies with specific catheters from a specific company, because the state of New Jersey has decided that even though Medicare pays for it, they don't, and I pay the difference. That they decided that they prefer this other company better, and unfortunately the other company is not better for me medically. So for me to be able to get the right products to continuously take care of my health, I have to go out of state to do it.
Yep, that's the playing field.
It's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Absolutely. But
I can tell you yesterday, right after I talked to my lawyer, I walked into herbology, which is Lebanon dispensary, with my head held high, with a smile on my face, and everyone was happy to service me.
You're down in Jamie and my area. I know you're in Pennsylvania, right?
She's like 2 hours outside of me.
Oh, so
Where in
she's 2
Pennsylvania is
hours.
this?
Who wants to go away for like a week? Because then PA Cannabis Fest is in Kutztown.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
go.
what I'm
Totally, I have
saying.
a tent. I'm ready to camp. Like,
No,
let's just go the whole time.
Yes,
I
we
know
should.
somebody
Oh my
who
God.
will lend us an RV.
Yes, nice.
I know
I've been
somebody who will
meaning-
lend us an RV. So
I mean, nice. I've been meaning to go camping since March.
right.
Hit Melissa's Walk the first. Hit
Yep.
Crystal
Nice.
Cave.
There you
Hit
go.
PA Cannabis Fest.
Seriously, let's do this.
that time of year.
I gotta write that
That would
down.
be wonderful.
All right. Yeah, you've
That
got
time
me.
of year.
We're connected.
Where do
That'd
you
be
live?
great.
Where do you live in South Jersey?
We'd love to have
Oakland.
everybody, if everybody can come. The more the merrier. The
I'm
more
definitely gonna
beautiful
try-
faces and the more support, the more stronger we are. Because we need to change these laws.
We will.
Like I said, it's definitely not about packing like the people here in Lebanon specific. It's not what I'm in this for. I'm in for this walk for changing these laws. I mean, this walk is all about reforming these laws because these laws are inhumane. It is 100% inhumane. I could have died over the past 2 weeks. Many times. My daughter, who is in 12th grade, went to her teachers and told them that she was scared that I was going to die because I was home alone. So she wanted to do homeschooling. So we got caught in a meeting, and they had it all set up a while. So my daughter's now pulled herself out of the school itself and is now doing homeschool. And because she is also the one who traveled with me to Harrisburg, she is now 57 assignments behind. Due to all this. So this truly like affected my family in so many ways. Not only emotional and stressful, but I mean education wise. You know, the fact that my daughter has been in the hospital with premature labor because she's been under a lot of stress. You know, this is not a joke. These laws I take very serious. And I take the reform team with these laws very serious. And
Stress
take
can
being
make
an
you have
advocate
seizures
so
more frequently.
much more serious. So, knowing that we are Lebanon's only advocates puts a lot on my hands right now because, like I said, there's mornings where I wake up where I have well over 250 messages, and I do my darndest to make sure, and I normally do, to get back to every one of them. respond to every single message because as of right now, it's just me and my daughter. And my daughter's had so much homework that she has to catch up on. I am not about to even remotely let her even help with any of these responses. So I've been extremely busy, like talking with a lot of people and getting a lot of support. And I've also been getting a lot of douchebags, you know. And I could throw their little Turks in the monkey wrench.
What do you mean?
You get them douchebags that, you know, that comment on my walks and like laugh at my pictures and stuff. So it's a very simple solution for me. Delete and block.
Wait, there's people. Who's against you? Who can possibly be against you?
There's like 5 people that I have already had to block.
Conversations that you have to have with people.
I
and
know,
the things
but
that people say. They're saying it to
You're
her.
way more. Yeah, but I'm a jerk.
They think that basically I'm just trying to be lazy, and they don't want to hear any part in the story that the fact that I had to walk away from my job, which wasn't a job to me. It was my family. Like I woke up and I was happy to walk in there. I greeted every single one of my residents. I worked with vets, disabled vets, you know, and like in the place in Lebanon that is the only place that has these unwanted people, you know, these what society calls as rejects who fought for us so hard in their lives. And I had to walk away because after my third seizure at work and going down and seeing the terror in their eyes and the concern when I would come back to work. And half of these people have dementia and Alzheimer's. So for them to be able to remember that I had a seizure days prior, because I would have to take off a couple of days. And when I would go back to work and knowing that they still remembered this, I saw it was damaging them more than what they have already been tortured through their inner lives. And I walked away. I chose to resign from that job. And these people are my family. Like, I still go back there this day to, like, matter of fact, right now, my best friend, Rachel and Monica, are watching. Those are my coworkers. Lewis is watching. He's the man who paid for me to get to Harrisburg. That's how much of a family that they mean. You know, like, they are my family. And for me to have to walk away from that, I don't find it funny at all. And it's very hurtful. And it's a lot more, because that's a whole other post-traumatic stress issue that I have now. A whole other anxiety issue that I have now. Like, when I have to leave there, and they ask me when I'm going to come back. Because I can't tell them when.
Awesome.
Like I said, unfortunately, I don't drive. And I can't go outside by myself. So I can never give them a time, or a day, or a week, a month, of when I'm going to see them again. All I know now is that I will be in before October 1st to see them. I do plan on going in today because I feel good. But until October 1st, when our paper clearly states to me is that we have to discontinue use as of the 1st. Not discontinue use. Or be clean, sorry. My paper clearly states that we must discontinue use by the 1st. My news broadcast, when he responded back, stated that it was to be discontinued as of the 1st, with 30 days to discontinue. So I did not discontinue. I went back yesterday. Like I said, I got myself some flour. I have it with my label on it, and I definitely medicated today. And I was proud to medicate today because I knew what you guys were doing. So this is an amazing thing for me. You know, our voices are going to be heard, and it's no longer am I willing to continue torturing myself and torturing my family and risking my life, knowing that I only had to discontinue the use. There's a lot of miscommunication between, I don't know what information all the probation officers got, because half of them didn't even know what the meaning meant. Like, were we supposed to be clean? Because they didn't know if the judge could order our urines as of the 1st. I can tell you I go in on the 3rd. So I panicked because my probation officer couldn't even give me the correct answer. So the judge couldn't give me the correct answer. I was just told, I was recommended by my probation officer I would not use it in case the judge does pull urines by the 1st. So until I went on national TV, and until I talked to my owner, which was only yesterday, keep in mind, people, was only yesterday at like 3 o'clock. So I spoke with him. By the way, he's an amazing man, too. So I spoke with him, and he made it very clear to reread my paper. He did not give me the recommendation to go out and use my medical marijuana. He just advised me to use my best advice for my medical decisions, with my medical health. So I did. I knew that I
Melissa,
wasn't.
you also, I think, is important to talk about, rely heavily on cannabis for symptom management with your stomach, like as far as nausea and vomiting. She's actually now having to take Zofran. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
For your
Kept
stomach,
cutting out.
that you're not able to like relieve your nausea and vomiting like you were with cannabis
I'm not nauseated at all today
because you're using.
because I didn't take because I medicated.
But they're having you now take Zofran 4 times a day. That's not helping at all.
Right, I went from twice a day with my Zofran when I had to take my medication to then 3 times a day with my medication, and now I'm up to 4 times a day because I know I am down I'm down under 100 pounds now.
Another thing that's concerning, like you can see she's thin. She's at
I
a
lost
percentile that they would probably
of weight.
consider wasting.
They lost a lot of weight due to all this stress.
And
all this
nausea
medication.
and no appetite and
No, it's ridiculous. I vomit everything I eat. And I was nauseated all the time. Sorry, all the time. All the time. Like I couldn't even look at food. I couldn't smell food because it made me want to vomit. I had no appetite. None whatsoever. That's how I lost all the weight, because all this medication. The pill had my stomach so messed up. And I'm medicated today. And I feel amazing. Like, I'm going to wet night today. Get to the doctors. I didn't drive. But I did go to the doctors. And I went to my girlfriend's house. And I was able to even walk up a flight of steps. And I didn't even have to hold on to the wall. And I went in her house. We chatted for a while. And then I realized that the podcast was starting. So she came home with me real quick to my house so I could get the Wi-Fi and make sure that it was available because I didn't want to miss this. But I medicated again right before. Yeah, I feel great. I'm not nauseated. Actually, I'm hungry. So I ate breakfast today. For the first time in like over 2 weeks.
Step 1.
And I can tell you I'm going to have one heck of a lunch. And then I'm going to cook today later too.
how are you supposed to have something that you know brings you so much relief, that's so harmless? It's like self-preservation to completely cancel that out and have to take all of these toxic things that make you feel worse than what you're actually dealing with.
Because
how could you
when I was,
mentally...
Let me tell you what I was told when I went in and I got my paper from my probation officer, who, let me stand up for again because he's an amazing man. My probation officer is great. He understands. And when I went in, I had asked him, so you mean to tell me me taking all those benzos okay, but I can't use my other medicine, my MMJ? And he said, no. And I said, so if the doctor, he said, that you can take all the Percocets and Oxycontin and all that you want. He said, as long as it's prescriptions from a doctor. Last time I checked, I want to say medical marijuana doctor who written 3 books. It was a legit doctor. I go every 3 months to get my card renewed. And my card's not even good for a year. It's every 3 months. So I was just at that doctor recently.
So the doctor is actually considering, would there be consequence should he not be writing her a recommendation under these circumstances? So now the doctor is concerned about his stance.
All the doctor is able to state is that I looked good when I went in the office and how I looked that day that I was in there.
What'd you say, Jim?
What'd you
say? Oh. Sorry, Melissa. Go ahead.
So that's all that the doctor is able to state in that letter. Is that how I looked, because he's not a neurologist. He's not a specialist in seizures. He's a specialist in marijuana, medical marijuana. So all he can do is write down how I was before, when I first went in for the card, what did I look like? And the medications I was on then. And then he could write down, like, when he goes in to testify, he can tell them how I looked prior, how I looked every visit since, and how I looked this last time since I had to start taking the benefits. So, but that, believe it or not, is more than enough. That's all. That's more than enough that I need.
Melissa, my friend Sarah is in Kansas, and she has drop seizures. And she has a 5-year-old, a couple of kids that keep an eye on her. They actually keep an eye on her and make sure she's safe. My friend William Haney, his mom had drop seizures. And when he was 5 years old, he used to take care of his mom and keep her head from, hitting the floor. And it's just instinctively, that's what they're going to do. And, you got support all the way around. I mean, but you need to just take it, take all the love and support that you're getting, because we're going to fight this together and we're going to win. But it's a family effort, it's a friend effort, it's everybody's effort to help you.
Absolutely, and I really appreciate all that, because I feel like I'm going to need it for October 1st, because, like I said, I'm trying to do this reform walk right now with just a handful of people, and I'm hoping and praying there's going to be hundreds of people, because I need bodies behind the voices and the stories that are about to be told.
How many people were at Harrisburg this week?
At the Harrisburg ones? Oh, my goodness. I couldn't count. Like, I stood, like I said, I stood on the steps and I've watched these people just pile in. I mean, all over. I mean, like I said, there were still people waiting in line. My nephew was actually waiting at the gate to get in when we were standing there. And he didn't even make it in time for our rally because it was that full. Okay, we had a lot of people. But there wasn't everybody who was able to join in with the Sam's family, because we're only allowed to take, only so many people spoke up, here in, like, the Lebanon area. So, like I said, I was the only one from Lebanon that was able to go, but they knew I was going there, and they were affected by it, so they showed up. Like, some people in Lebanon actually showed up.
You actually did get to meet and speak with some people from the ACLU already, right?
Oh my gosh, I met so many of them.
What were they talking about? What were they interested in?
All of them wanted to hear my story. They were all very interested in my story. So were all the senators. Like I said, I drank a lot of coffee. I had lunch. I was there from 7 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock the next day, party. So very busy day. I mean, we had a very busy schedule. A lot of senators. Dan Jones is an amazing man. Dan Jones is amazing. I recommend people meet him. If you want to learn how to meet him, get in contact with him. Like, he's amazing. But there was a lot of amazing people that I met there. A lot of people that are with us, on this plate, that believe and signed that bill, and there was, like I said, I met Fetterman, I met Wolf, I met so many people. I'm telling you, these people, I was trying to take pictures of all their names with, and pictures. They always wanted pictures afterwards, but my phone got full space. I didn't have enough memory to take all the pictures of all the people that I met. I mean, there was a lot of senators and really big people. So Mr. Williams, Senator Williams, I can say, I would love to speak on that man's behalf because the man is an amazing senator. He is amazing. That senator sat down with me and my daughter, some of the SAM team, and he was completely focused on that this is wrong, and
how is
then
he
shared his
talking? Does
life
it
story
seem
with
like
us.
he's going to be fighting for you? Does it seem like these people are going to stand behind you?
No, I don't. That there, I don't know yet. Like right now, like I said, I'm using a public defender because I didn't come up with money for a lawyer.
So you're actually waiting to receive notice. You don't know if there's a date, anything yet, right?
Huh?
You don't know if you're waiting to receive a date for court, but you don't have the money for a lawyer yet anyway.
I'm sorry, I still couldn't hear you.
You're still waiting to receive notice for a date, but you don't have money for a lawyer yet anyway.
Right, like I said, that's the reason why why I'm using the public defender, because, and I'm not having to use the same public defender because the chief public defender is now taking my case, and he's a good guy. So, I mean, from what I've spoke to him, he seems like a good guy. I've only spoken with him once, but he seems to be very nice, and like he needs like the things that I won't comment on. But it seems like the judge is willing to actually hear my testimony, and he is willing to try to be understanding. So that's my goal, to get people to listen. Like, I need people to hear on how well this medicine actually works, and I feel like, I don't know if I'm maybe the only candidate that's perfect enough, or maybe I'm just the one with the loudest voice.
As long as you're the loudest, it's good.
Yeah, so like I said, I definitely will continue fighting for my life. But if I end up going to jail, people have to understand that I wasn't getting my seizure medication when I was in jail either. Like, I had 3 dead seizures in jail. They actually had to call every single CO in. Like, they had the DPR there. They were ready to go. The heart shock bags were out. So, I was told that by a couple of my cellies the next day that, because keep in mind we were kept in a room, I was in the same room for 12 days with 12 women to get that. So, and it's dirty. Like, they use recycling water. I didn't drink for the first 3 days because we pooped, peed, and bathed in the same water.
Wait, what's recycled water? What is that?
Lemon County Correctional Facility, they have their own, water plant. It's all prison water that gets recycled. and we're like, the water smelled like urine. When I was in there, my cot was directly across from the bathroom, and every time we flushed that toilet, and keep in mind there was 12 women in there, so the toilet was flushed a lot. Every time it was flushed, everything that was in the toilet ran over, like the bottom of it, it came right out the bottom of the toilet and ran right into my bed. Like, it's not clean in there, but I was told by my cellmates in there that they sat up and were screaming at the top of their lungs, screaming that I was teasing them for a long time before they could come to try to save me. And I can tell you when I was in there, I was told that one CO, her name is Eddie, and I was told that she sat with me for a long time. And I think that might have saved my life. I don't know if it was a paramedic or what, but like she knew what to do. You know, she knew exactly what to do. And the next day in jail, you have to pay for Tylenol and ibuprofen. You can't just get it. And like I said, I didn't even see a doctor or the nurse until day 5. So, but yeah, like I said, Eddie sat with me, and Eddie gave me Tylenol, and I leave the next day because anybody that has ever had seizures, they know that even medicating or not medicating, after you have a seizure, your body's still sore. You know, I mean, medicating it helps a little bit better because there's strains that help with pain. Unfortunately, with my medication that I'm on, that does not help with pain, unless it's nerve pain. So after seizures, like my body's really been really sore in like the past 2.5 weeks. I mean, really sore. To the point where I was waking up for like 3 days straight with cramps in the foot because my foot couldn't get my foot uncramped. Like I couldn't even wear a shoe for like 3 days. Couldn't stand. And tough. Inhumane. 100% inhumane. Like I don't know if people just expect that we'll see an epilepsy, maybe she will die and then I'll just disappear and this problem will go away, because what people don't understand now is if I would die right now, there's going to be consequences for everybody that plays roles in me not being able to use my medication. And we are going to sue. My husband will sue Lebanon County for my death. So what are they more willing to do? Are they more willing to be sympathetic, which I don't feel like I should need, but be more sympathetic, being the fact that my illness is that deadly, because I believe that anxiety can be that deadly. I believe that post-traumatic stress can be that deadly. I believe that depression can be that deadly also, because I can tell you, because I had all those are the reasons why I tried to commit suicide. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. Couldn't count how many times. Those are the reasons. Like when I would cut, seeing myself bleed, it would make me realize that I still bled. And I knew that my heart was still pumping. Burning myself, the visualization of it, the smell of my skin burning.
Wait, I didn't get that. You tried to commit suicide?
Multiple times.
Multiple times.
Yes. Absolutely. I have all the scars to prove it. I said that, did you hear me when I said that just because of post-traumatic distress and my depression, I believe all those and my anxiety, those are what got me to the point to commit suicide, to try to commit suicide. Those are the reasons why I would cut so that way I could see myself bleed, so I knew my heart was still pumping, so I knew I was alive. Would burn into my flesh so that way the visualization of the burning and the pain of the burning, because I felt like myself was damaged. But I was a damaged individual because of everything I went through in my life. And Turns out that's not the case. Yeah, I don't need to. I haven't burned or cut myself since I've been on MMJ. I got close the past 2 weeks. I really did. I really did. But I looked to support systems like you guys to help me not do that. You know, I believe in God. I've been on MMJ. It gave me a reason to live. Because I realized that I'm not damaged, and I realized that I can live a stable life. And I realized that I have a voice. You know, that I matter too. I count too. I'm not a piece of trash. My heart beats. My mind feels, my lungs feel, my heart feels. I would walk down there. When I was in Harrisburg, I saw so many homeless people in Harrisburg, and I can tell you that I grabbed everything in my hotel room that I could, including I walked to Foley's in Harrisburg to get this man lunch. Big old rice platter with hot chicken, salad and a roll. I grabbed all the coffee cups I could, and I gave it to this elderly man who was homeless because he was sleeping on the streets of Harrisburg. And all he was looking for a ride back to Baltimore. But I couldn't help him as far as that sense went because I didn't drive. And I myself had to find a way home from Harrisburg with my 17-year-old daughter. So I did what I could. I grabbed toilet paper out of the hotel. Took everything I did. I took a towel, all the soaps, all the shampoos, the conditioners, made him a fresh hot cup of coffee, grabbed all the hot teas that I could. I took soda down to him. And I handed it to him. And I also gave him a cigarette. So, it is not. It's inhumane. That's also inhumane. You know, like, people's lives matter. Like, we're human. And we're not trash. We all feel. I don't care what anybody says. They have a heart. And they feel. If they believe in Jesus Christ himself, they feel. Because God gave us feelings. And kids can sit there and say that, well, I'm into, and like they don't understand the stories. They can't sit down and with a vet and sit down on their stories and listen to what their stories are, their battles that they've gone through. And they can just walk by and point their fingers and laugh and think that they're animals, but they're not. They are the way they are because they've been through so much because they fought for our country, and they are also. They're one of their biggest advocates in Lebanon County right now because they too also need medical marijuana, but they can't get it. So it's unfair. Like, it's inhumane to them. This medication would help them in so many ways.
It's anti-Christian, and I think your judge is Christian, and I think that's horrible.
Well, I don't know what the beliefs are. I know what my beliefs are. I know what I believe, and I know who's in my heart, and I know who I walk with every day.
God's got your back. Don't worry. As you can see, there's a lot of people on your team.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. You're doing the right thing, and you're on the right side.
Amen. Amen. So I will no longer listen to that evil side of me that I thought that I had. It made me feel like I had a cut. It made me feel like I had to burn. You know, I'm going to continue using it, and I'll be in front of who I have to be in front of, and until we'll hear my story. That's all I ask, is just to listen to my story and then hear me out on the reasons why this medication is so important to all of us, not just me.
Do you expect to be put back in jail?
Petrified of it. I am petrified of going back to jail. Everyone needs to keep in mind I'm on probation until October 21st of next year.
For 4 children in-house.
Yes, so the judge...
What did you say?
That you have 4 children in your home.
4 children, a husband, and a grandchild on his way, but I have a total of 5 children.
Yeah. So, with your case, there's no way in hell you're going to jail. So, there's that. Like, you would have to have like a real sociopath for a judge, with this. So, I suppose it does happen, but I
didn't
highly
know
doubt.
I didn't think that I would ever have to stop using my medicine either. And I did. So, I won't say never.
If you keep using your medicine, you're going to test positive, and then I guess they want your positive test to keep going down and down and down and down.
How do they know that? Because that's not the test that they do. They do a dipstick. And if if a line shows up, then you're positive. If no line shows up, you're negative. Because I can tell you, when I was on ARD prior to probation, I tested positive for methamphetamine. I didn't even know what meth was. When they told me I tested positive, they didn't want to hear any reasoning behind it until I started doing my own research. After I had already gotten kicked off of ARD, and I did a lot of research on it, and with those dipsticks, did you know drinking a Red Bull, like I did when I would go in there, can cause you to test positive. Did you know taking NyQuil, which I took the night prior, can cause you to test positive? But there's a million other things that can cause you to test positive for that. But they didn't want to hear my story.
Seeds.
Travis didn't want to hear anything. He beat me immediately. I was off the program.
Awful.
Now I'm set on probation. And now this. And it's not just 6 months probation. 2 years. If I would have been told by my first public defender I only had to do a handful more, instead I chose to plea. I could have taken it to jury, talked him into pleading guilty. I am now being punished for over 3 years. I've been 100% sober come February 13th for 3 years. This coming February will be 3 years that I've walked every day looking in that mirror, changing that person. I started with that vision in the mirror. And now I'm going to make that change in the world. Because I am no longer ever willing to just shut up and be okay with things anymore. I will be that person with the bullhorn.
That's right.
Because that's what Lebanon right now needs. We do. And I can tell you, since I now had another person ask me to rejoin the team. And I'm proud to have her back. She's Ashley and Marie. And I'm excited to have her back because she wants to join the be the third advocate. I'm really excited for that because I've known this woman too my whole life for many, many years when she was a little girl. And she's also come a long way. She also believes that with the way the system's working now, it's a revolving door. There's no way for anyone to get ahead in life. We don't even give kids nowadays. Like, we send 15-year-olds to freaking jail because what? They stole something, or they had an H with them. I get the fact that he's 15, but you're now putting that on his record for his lifetime. He has 10 years that he has to walk off just for having that in his pocket. Not only that, is he going to be put away until he's at least 18 because of that one law, which is ridiculous. And it needs changed. Change needs to happen. Reform for the law needs to happen. Probation and jailhouse rules and parole, all needs to change. Like, that's what this is all about. This is all about me trying to speak up for everyone's rights to get their probation and all these charges dropped, that are inhumane to have to carry around for the rest of your life. It's ridiculous.
Melissa, before we let you go, we have to start the show. We never started the show. You can help me start the show. This is the music. Yeah, we have a bumper music that we're going to play now to start the show. Welcome to the show. This is the Ignorance is No Excuse podcast. Welcome to Trenton. Hi, goodbye. We're about to say hello and goodbye. We never did the intro for the show. We had a guy come up. My friend came up before. It was just a crazy day. We didn't get to start the show. So it was, yeah. So we're going to start it right now. This is our theme song. Hold on. Where does it go? Where is it? No, we want the bumper music. This one. Welcome to Trenton. Wow, we're getting hit with acorns. We're literally under a huge tree that's been here for hundreds of years. I think George Washington used hemp under this tree. And this is where we hang out. Sorry, Jim.
They come down pretty hard.
Welcome to the show. This is the... We were knocked off twice. This is the third time we're on the show.
So we're going to begin the show last?
We're going to begin the show, and then we're going to end the show. But it's been crazy. But sorry, Dan's here.
Hey, everybody. It's good to be here. I'm Dan Ulowa. I'm a writer advocate here and playing the good fight for cannabis now.
And we're talking to Melissa Gass on the phone. She's a patient in Pennsylvania who had her judge take away her cannabis. Judge took away her cannabis, so now she's having drop seizures. Death-threatening drop seizures.
And it's inhumane.
It's disgusting. Melissa, you're gonna have an issue. I'm sure now, where you. This is sad. My friend Sarah has drop seizures, and she's afraid to take a shower now because of the fact that she could fall in the shower and crack her head. She's already knocked out teeth. And you saw the pictures. A lot of you guys just saw the pictures. She's had her whole hand ripped up. She had her VNS in her heart ripped out. She has 10 staples in her head. Good God, I hope that you can be careful. Maybe even if you want to wear a helmet at home. I'm not kidding. Get yourself a cool ass helmet and wear it around the house because just to be safe,
Absolutely. And I can tell you, I don't take showers, and I don't even take a bath alone.
What do? You just
don't go anywhere alone.
take a bath? That's safer to take a bath, I guess, right?
My kids help me fill it back up, and they sit in there with me the whole entire time. And it's motivating and humiliating for me, but my family's a strong family. We all stay together.
Now, wait a minute. You could drown from a bathtub. I mean, you could have a seizure
I almost have.
In the tub.
Yes, I have had seizures in the tub before, and I almost did drown. My husband had to kick in my bathroom door to get me out of the tub because he heard me having a seizure in the tub. And my bathroom door is locked. There's no more lock on my bathroom door. I have no one can lock it no more.
You get yourself a kick-ass biker helmet, and put some stickers on and stuff just to be around the house or anywhere, really, just to be safe for now until you get back on cannabis. Because the judge took your... It's just horrible what they're putting you through.
I agree.
I just can't believe a judge would do this to somebody. What is wrong with this guy?
Believe it.
It's a bully.
No,
bully. You're a guy bully.
Saying, you say you can't believe it. That's mistake
horrible,
number one.
Horrible.
Now, we should clarify to the audience that we were saying that Melissa has a doctor's note.
Yes.
So we were arguing
there
to
is
say about
so
medical
much
versus
that
judge.
is so wrong with all
So
of
there
that.
you go. If you have what are the laws though say in Pennsylvania that like a medical patient can be they have their medicine taken away? Then that's insane.
Yeah,
Because of a minor charge at best. It's not like she robbed the fucking bank.
Melissa, is it a prescription or a recommendation in Pennsylvania?
It's a recommendation.
Okay, right. It can't be a prescription, so it's different. Well, they're a Commonwealth. I never know what the Commonwealths because they're backwards.
It's very similar to a state. There's very little that's really that different. It's just they changed the names. back in the day, like in the 13 colonies, because then you have like what, Commonwealth of Virginia, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's mostly
it's called a physician recommended drug. I mean,
Yeah, so it's
otherwise
de
I'd
facto.
recommend it. Hey, you try cannabis. There, I just recommended it. I'm not a physician.
Nice.
It's actually part of the entire medical school now. You can prescribe Schedule 2 opiates. You can now recommend.
So how is it? So what's the difference then? Is there a paper trail? If there's a paper trail, then we're good on this.
It's nothing but semantics because you cannot prescribe a Schedule 1 drug.
But what's I'm asking
not
you,
able
is
to.
there a paper trail? Is there a script? A paper where
Oh,
the
yeah.
doctor writes it? So what we're doing, we're going to trial then.
There
Fuck
is,
this
you
guy.
know, yeah. It's you.
Yeah, we're making this
qualify,
a
I
big
recommend
trial.
it. They
Yeah,
call-
I'm gonna get a media hoopla on this.
And then
Fuck this
they
noise.
call it physician recommended amount.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
You know,
your
you know what I recommended though? I said, listen, because I'm re-upping for a year and he's new to this, and I said I got to also one more thing. I need you to increase my prescription of medicine I can't afford to 3 ounces.
Mm.
And he didn't know what I meant, and I said, well, I can't afford it, so I'm not going to get any more. But I might 1 month, the one time something happens and I find money and it doesn't come with ID, I'm going to go buy medicine. I want 3 ounces, Oh boy.
So how much do they charge him for the
it's
3
just,
ounces then?
It's just semantics. But the thing is, dodging everything from the federal level is really hard. And the fact that it means that Medicaid cannot pay for it, federally subsidized as it is.
True.
So that keeps the poorest from being able to have their medicine paid for. And, I can't honestly say that I've gone without because I couldn't afford it, but the fact that it changes my life and you give up a whole lot of pride and it's that's not affording it. We need a new definition
so
of
like
affording
I have
it.
like the same thing where
Can't
it's
afford it.
like so we were looking here at like the perfect strain from like my condition called Omnicene. And I'm like, I don't know if I can afford this, if I have to get the car fixed or like some other like
It's the
big
choice.
business expense
Yeah.
like comes up, as
Yeah.
happens like in the society. What if I lose a tire? What if I like fall down like somewhere? Like these things happen. Like I do have to pay like 2 parking tickets. Like money gets tight.
Yeah,
this
for
way.
everybody. But I would venture to say that there is not one person in the legislature that has any trouble getting some sort of program for their medications of some sort. It exists. It's not impossible. For the poorest of the poor in New Jersey, they've made it impossible. And the fact that there's no serious attempt, really, Governor Murphy, if he wants to do something, he's going to replace you with somebody that will, because that should be the message to the federal government. We rescheduled it too, yet we can't let our Medicaid patients, we can't pay for it because of the subsidies from you, the federal government. But if New Jersey isn't willing to set the table for that one and say we have a medical marijuana law, we're going to bat for it in every way we can, and you got people saying we have the most innovative medical marijuana program in the country. Yeah, we do, but not in a good way. It's not a good innovation. That can work both ways, and we are the most innovative. We have it.
How many have homegrown?
I don't know how many don't would be the hardest part. It's just less math. How many don't have it, and subtract from how many states there are.
All right, so there's 11. All right, so there's what 33 good
I hear
programs.
that. That's the number that gets bantered about.
So it's 33 then minus X like the amount that don't. And I don't know how many that don't. So we have New Jersey. So we have
every state that doesn't have homegrown now followed New Jersey's lead.
New Jersey has the lead. We didn't even pass
we
the bill.
owe other states to be a
Illinois, they
cautionary
said that.
tale.
Yeah, so Illinois probably doesn't have it either. Okay, so now we're at
Oh, we lost our call.
33 minus 2, 31.
So sorry, Uncle Albert. I'm going to say it straight out on the podcast, the fact that we have 14 out of 40 senators who already voted yes to home grow when they voted look at, I wrote it down because it'd been so long since
Homegrow
we
really
did that.
hard because like all
I'm
the
just
people are saying even if we get rec or adult use, we're not going to get homegrow this time. We might.
February 23rd, 2009. It passed 22 to 16. It really wasn't that close in
22
voting. To 16 it passed, and that included the worst home grow of any state to that point.
When was this?
This was February 23rd, 2009. This was the first part of getting medical marijuana. This is where we got our law. This is how a bill becomes law. It goes to the Senate. It goes to the Assembly. They got to pass an identical version. It got referred to the Assembly 3 days later. Then on June 4th, just before a committee hearing on it to take a vote, the chairman pulled that and Payne as a condition off the battlefield. You know, they wanted to do that, and part of me can't blame them for that because people were helped with that bill and are being greatly helped by the law. But the problem is that the 14 of those 22 senators are still active. They had it yanked out, not us. They passed a bill in the Senate. Herb Conaway said, I'm doing this and I'm not going to explain why ever. Now, it took 50 years to find out about Kennedy and things. There was a 50-year moratorium. We knew in 1964, or a year later.
Did we figure it out?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how long a patient's decade. A decade, 20% of 50 years. They've waited a long, long time with no explanation. For an explanation. For an explanation.
Of what?
Why home grow was taken out in the Assembly Committee. Why?
Oh, they didn't explain it?
No, Herb Conaway, he took it out, he announced it, he took the hit for it, but there was no hit. Nobody ever made him say, these 14 people that voted yes, shouldn't they wonder why it was yanked out? They voted yes on it. It was yanked out. Did they make no stink at all? That's impossible, and they knew it. They said, here's a bill. It's the worst one we have so far. 13 states have it. We're cutting it down to 6 plants. That's half of the next worst bill.
Why can't they just make it cheaper, y'all? I don't need to. I don't really want to grow things.
They can go ahead and make a standalone bill, copy and paste what they voted for. Copy and paste it. Just like they did 10 years ago. They passed it 10 years ago. You telling me they can't pass it now as a standalone thing for patients? It got taken out with explanation. How are patients going to fight this if they don't know where to begin? The first thing to know where to begin is why did it get taken out? You can't begin without knowing that. It's been 10 years. This is not the freaking Wizard of Oz, and we're walking down a yellow goddamn brick road looking for an answer. It exists. Herb Conaway has it. Michael Ciora has that, and he's right down the road. Do I have to go to a council meeting? No, why? That's step one. If we can't find out why, we're done. That's the first step. There.
To figure out what.
That's what I came here for today. I'm home, man. What?
Why? To figure out why 10 years ago they pulled it?
No. Figure out why. Why the man who pulled it doesn't have to say why.
Oh, no.
He's here. He's probably in there somewhere.
Is that hard to figure it out why?
No, it's
easy
to
figure out why.
No.
You won't admit it.
You know what?
Point?
Okay, it doesn't.
I think we've pretty much figured
You're
out.
asking questions, but not given time for the answers. The question is it easy to figure out why? Yes. Does that prove it? No. It's called conjecture, and it's not at all costs. Tell sick and dying patients, those who are still alive, why it was taken outside his office while he is inside being a doctor. That's not even the end of the road, but he would be wise just to answer should somebody come into his office asking why, to have that. He'll answer one and it'll raise two. It's not fair. Patients are dying.
I know a guy for this.
It took 10 years.
So.
It took 10 years so far. What is it going to take? Another 2 for the answer? We want an answer. It's not. It's a demand.
Is this like a big problem, Lefty?
Understand the problem better. I don't know what to say. I'm really surprised that you don't understand how important that is in starting
to figure out why he pulled it.
To solve the problem. You have to know why it was pulled before you can ask for it to be redone. Maybe there was a good reason. Let's hear it. And if there was a good reason, then we should not have it. there.
Sounds like
It's
the Kennedy
simple. But the avoid exactly the fact you should be asking, why will he not say so? Not why is it important for sick and dying patients to know where the fight begins.
Yo, guys, have you been following this issue of like the conspiracy?
It's not conspiracy, dude. It happened. It's all a matter of record.
What do you call a conspiracy that's happened then?
No. This happened. It was
Rico?
pulled. It was pulled. It's not a conspiracy. He pulled it. I was there. It isn't a rumor.
Have you heard this? Yeah. Have you heard this about this?
You think that? And I think it was
My
John
guess.
Corzine.
My best
no,
guess.
wait a minute. I think I can find you 10 things people
But
think.
that's the thing. Like
but,
we don't
but
know.
Paul McCartney, is he dead? Is he dead? Where was Paul McCartney during the Is He Dead scare? I'm just saying that
patients need to know. We need to know.
The mystery is
It is a
why
mystery.
they cannot find out.
Yeah, it is.
Why?
It is a mystery.
Why?
Okay, you tell me why.
No, we don't know why.
Why don't you
like
go
a
to
big
Herb
mystery?
Herb
It is.
Conaway's office and
It is.
ask?
I know a guy for this. I will.
There's no answer. You won't get an answer.
What do you mean I won't get an answer?
There is no answer. There's no answer. It's been 10 years. There's no answer.
Jim, like you never went. You're fucking confronting Frank Pallone. You didn't go up to Herb and say like, "Hey, what the fuck's with this?" Or what do you say then?
Well, actually,
what's the line?
Yeah, we're going to. Jim's going to.
He does. He's been asked by constituents, and he just will not answer.
He what? Like
I'm not a constituent.
Jim, what do you mean? Like you went up to Pallone. You can't go up to this guy?
Yeah. I've talked to him,
This
but
is
not.
Mr. Radical's here, Lefty. We bring Bung Holyoke.
You're missing something very important. Not being an actual advocate, what you don't know is there are ways to get things done, and to walk up in the beginning and skip the steps that come first. You actually have to try the front door and let it go for a week before you go to step 2. I do have a request in from a constituent that I will be accompanying to talk to a staffer this long. Why did he pull it? And he had no discussion about it. 10 minutes talking, and that was just from the sponsors. There would be no discussion at all, and it was over. And it's done, and nobody can find out. And whether or not I tried hard enough and how I tried, what the mother freak are you talking about?
All right, so what's the reason
Holy
now?
Shit, what kind of logic is that? I'm sorry, I'm beside myself.
What is
I
the
did not
reason-
expect this from you, Dan. I really didn't.
What?
No, I did not. I'm surprised my radar was wrong, you know?
What?
Never.
What, that, like, I
if
haven't
you
been
got
in
to
on
say
this?
what, I can't explain it to you.
Sorry, I was distracted.
Simple as that.
You hungry, sir? There we go. Yeah, we're feeding people today. This is great. We're going to be doing this on Thanksgiving also.
That is nice.
Oh, nice.
I really appreciate you guys doing this.
Oh, thank you, Lefty, for saying that. It's only 2 podcasts, 2 months away now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to start really making it.
When is the next
what
one?
worked
then?
the last 2 years and redo that and make it as big and good as we can this year.
Yeah, Thanksgiving morning, we're going to be giving away food, clothing,
fuck.
toys, whatever.
Third time.
Third
time.
Third annual.
Third annual.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay, cool.
we spread out tarps and put stuff out, and the second year it was way more than the first.
Yeah.
And it was so stellar. To me, the takeaway is the woman that said it's all free, yeah. And we had a whole bunch of new socks, all the same, you know. And she said, how many socks can I take? And I said, well, it depends on how many feet you have that need socks. Couple of pairs for every. Nobody's going to ask you where they're going. It's you need them, you take them. Whatever.
If you're going to do a food drive to go to the
Yeah,
shelter,
it
I would
includes.
do that before so that the shelter has it to distribute it
Yeah,
for
well,
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Maybe
they
still
go to-
do something Thanksgiving Day.
Well,
Okay,
but-
look,
people are dropping off food here.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're dropping off food, and then when we're done, then we bring it to the place.
Yeah, and we bring the leftovers that aren't to wherever it is. That gets given away too. But they actually do get a lot of. I mean, we were giving away were whole turkeys that they can take
nice.
home and
Right.
cook for their. And whatever else. And the last time, I pegged her to be in her upper 70s. She was kind of frail. Woman, but she could bend over with a 19-pound turkey and get it to the trunk of a car with her apparent husband in a walker trying to get to the trunk before her.
That's
For
good.
me, you know what it is? See, because it's all about me. And sometimes I have a hard time enjoying Thanksgiving because I know people can't. And I really have a hard time sitting down for a good all-you-can-eat meal, and you want some to go, and I know people can't. And this is the key. I've had the best 2 Thanksgivings after coming from here.
Nice.
Now I'm going back. I'm ready to eat, because what it takes otherwise, in other words, they know, and the Trenton community is quite active with us, and so that right afterwards there's somebody expecting whatever else was still here, and it has a place to go.
Where do you live then, Jim?
I'm staying in Mount Laurel right now. My actual address is in Toms River, though.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I know some high-demand items for the homeless. Are baby wipes, socks,
baby wipes, yes.
Underwear.
Yeah.
We're going to actually, if we're talking about Thanksgiving, we're going to be in colder weather. They like the hot hand warmer pocket things.
Okay. Peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
That's a big one.
I try to stick with soft items. A lot of them don't have great dental and have to refuse hard food.
Yep, that's a good point. Okay. Applesauce.
And like weather appropriate clothing. Like they're going to be needing sweatshirts,
sweaters,
I got a lot of blankets.
I got a lot of stuff actually to give away.
Tarps are always desirable if anybody has
now,
like
which
an
is
old
why
tent.
I was like Lefty. Thank God you mentioned this, because we have time now. If we take it moderately seriously now, when there's plenty of time, it kind of spreads a little better. And keeping in touch with people, just it's like I appreciate it if you could add some stuff. And do you know anybody that can?
Right.
I'd like it to be a real chore getting here. I'd like to be having places to stop the day before Thanksgiving and somewhere to put it and maybe help getting, but one was gratifying, and 2 was like bigger and a lot going on. I just hope it's going to be good weather. I never saw so many happy people. Just it was like they were shopping with nowhere to check out. You just pick, and there was some really nice clothes, jackets, wintertime jackets.
Also,
nice stuff.
Any kind of baggage, especially book bags, things that can be
That's
packed up.
A good list of these things that people, could donate.
Oh, okay.
It's most all of it's new, but the good stuff that a lot of people use, whether it be clothes or book bags, it comes in like really good shape.
Nice.
People are just like happy to have it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but a nice list of the smaller things. I wouldn't have thought of book bags, but that would be a staple that
I go to Camden a lot.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll be for Thanksgiving.
I only remember wearing out part of a jacket I had in high school from carrying books on a hip.
I carry a book bag constantly.
I never had a book bag.
What?
Well, when I graduated, you weren't allowed to wear blue jeans or have hair over this part of the hair.
Nice.
All I could do as a rebel was part my hair when I went to get a haircut. I'd say nothing off the top, and I'd comb it over the top. And then if I comb from this side, this profile looked like Peter Tork. It was really cool when you weren't allowed, go walking down.
Peter Tork?
Yeah, he was one of the monkeys that had that. Look, when you weren't allowed to have hair over that little where your curl was down at the bottom right here, if a teacher could walk up and do that, you'd have to get a haircut.
Nice.
You could wear white Levi's but not blue jeans. It was a brave new world in 1970 when somebody in Massachusetts was valedictorian and grew his hair long, and they wouldn't give him his diploma, but he was valedictorian, and somewhere
that's crazy.
Everybody in the whole country came to their senses. Yeah, but that was too late for me.
Long hair.
That's
that was
like a real.
That was like a
couldn't have any of that.
Wow. That's ridiculous. We live in better times, at least. Then.
And look how far we've come. Now I'm smoking pot in Trenton on a state house lawn. I mean, because I'm hurt, And I got to tell you what. Sometimes I got to actually stop and remind myself how hurt I am, because I feel pain pretty much all the time to a degree, and it's keeping it down to where it doesn't make other muscles tense up. That's good enough for me, because I know what incredible pain is. But I remind myself that there are people that aren't that lucky as patients that are in pain I can only imagine. And I don't like them running out of medicine, and I can't help.
True.
And I can't help. The only way I can help, home grow. Give it an effort. Now the thing is, my
Back
whole
to homegrown, yes.
my whole thing with Cheryl was the reason we did what we did. It wasn't whether it would work or not. It was because I wanted to do everything I could. And after the fact, I didn't want to say, why was I afraid to do this? Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I get involved? I wouldn't be liking the answers. So I don't have those questions now. But it's raising in my head. Just last week, I asked myself seriously. I mean, I'm talking about riding in the car on Route 72, and I have no radio that works because I like it that way. And I'm
You don't like the radio?
No, I got a carnival in my head, and I got to sort stuff out and like think things. And I'm not like people where the music helps me. That takes me to a happy place, and sometimes I need to confront the reality. And the reality is that I asked myself, if Cheryl's alive, what would you be doing? And I was flooded with guilt from right away knowing I'd be living a different life right now, just like I did then. That's why I did that then, and I'm not now. And I know I don't have to do that again, but I have to do more than I'm doing now. I got to close that gap, because now I can't. You
seem to do a lot. Fuck.
No, but within a mile of here, right now, there's people crying out in pain. I know that we won't hear them, but I know they're there. And I know the loneliness of Cheryl crying out in pain, and nobody could hear it. You know what happened? I hope I can find it. Or go back to the website where it was posted, like, you can go back in time and there it is. I had to get Cheryl changed, and I couldn't because it was going to hurt her. She was going to cry out in pain because we didn't have butter, didn't have pot, nothing was going to work. And I was so frustrated. I said, why am I the only one that's going to have to hear this? And she just wanted to record it. And I said, awesome. I had a little voice thing to keep notes, so I recorded it. Didn't listen to it for 2 years. I came here for a press conference. Montel was there and everything. I brought Cheryl's cry.
Oh, Montel. Oh, shit.
I brought Cheryl's cry of pain, and I played it. And I made the same point that what you're hearing now is Cheryl, and you could hear her like a wounded animal. It sounded like, oh, 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 like that. And me going, quick as I can, like that. And oh, 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 like that. It was like hard. I had to listen to it 50 times to inoculate, seriously, and I said, don't make the good lead up. But the point is we can do that now. We couldn't even do it so easily then. Patients can, it's the problem. What are you giving up? What it's like.
Yeah.
Sound bites can be taken from that.
Yeah.
I am telling you right now, I'm going to do what it takes, including if I have to help fund it myself at the risk of getting even less medicine, I'm going. It's going to have to be a website where anybody can walk into a legislator's office and go, let's go to this website. Here's what everybody else is seeing. Any office of any representative, a constituent can go in and say, no, I'm not alone. Here's other people at this website. It can be done. It's that easy. And I say that after 25 years of never saying it's that easy. But it is that easy, and it's not going to get stopped by, well, it's $249 for the initial investment. I'll spend that, and I'll
Oh, nice.
take care of it. It can be done. It's that. And the time is now. It's exactly now. People got put down for social use home grow. They went through it. All the same things applied double for patients. The argument's been made. Joanne Zito's been the most amazing person ever in New Jersey in the last year doing what she does. And it all applies to this for patients. But patients had it done before. And now everything she applies, it's easier to say why patients should need it. A standalone bill can and will be done.
Yeah, standalone home grow. I could
for
see
patients. Same, but cut and paste. No, copy and paste. You don't even have to go through it again. It was passed. Do it again. Do it again. Go on. Do it again. That's my Pink Floyd. Come on, man. How can you have your butter if you haven't eaten your meat?
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway.
I love Floyd.
All right, before we leave for the day, I got a story here. Some news article. In Middletown, a candidate running for a seat on the Middletown Township Committee is catching some heat after a video surfaced Friday of her saying, now she didn't say this is wrong. To me, a lot of police are criminals. She didn't say that. She also lost her running mate over the video. The candidate is Gianna Sager, a Middletown resident.
I know her.
She's running alongside Sean Burns for 2 open seats on the Middletown Township Committee.
I know Sean too. He's a good guy.
Really?
Shout out to Sean Burns.
He dropped her as he dropped her. He dropped her as
I haven't seen him in a while.
Well, yeah, he kind of didn't do the right thing here because he dropped her as a running mate.
Why?
Wait, what did she say?
Tell us
She
what this
hates
is about.
cops?
This is
What she
confusing. Please.
She said about police being criminals, and there are some police that are criminals, and I don't support those cops. I support good cops. The bad cops make the good
Holy
cops look good.
crap. She spoke the truth.
Yeah, she spoke the
badass,
truth.
yeah.
So I'm glad she's doubling down on this because here it says Burns, who was a well-known in the Middletown community, told Patch Friday he had just learned of Sager's comments today, and he's no longer running with her as a candidate.
What does that mean? That she's no longer running, or he's no longer running?
She's going all in. I love it.
He's not running anymore.
No. Here, this is Mr. Burns.
Shit.
I learned of these statements today, and I absolutely disagree with her. Burns exclusively told
Yeah,
Patch.
that's what he sounds like.
I have today suspended my campaign for Township Committee. If she does not withdraw from the campaign, then I will. I cannot run with somebody who has such beliefs. Burns can always run on his own, which he said is possible.
Yeah.
But I won't run with her, he told.
Sounds like a song. I won't
what
run
is
with
this?
her.
Patch? Middletown Patch?
Yes.
Shit.
I won't run with you tonight.
Nice, Jim.
She made these comments outside a Middletown Township Committee meeting this past June when she was speaking casually in front of a group of pro-cannabis activists. That was us, Bongholio and Jeff and me. So
Nice.
that was our video, and geez. Here we go. The conversation was not videotaped by the reporter. It was recorded by Edward Lefty Grimes, who bills himself as a pro-marijuana activist in New Jersey.
Bills himself.
Art Gallagher, a conservative Monmouth County blogger.
I hate that guy.
This guy, he was charged in Delaware for fraud for like
Gallagher?
that guy. He
Tell us about him. Don't
I hate that guy.
digress.
I hate that blog.
Yeah, he went to. He had problems in Delaware because he defrauded the some people over some money.
Nice.
And allegedly, so. A conservative Monmouth County blogger who writes for some, I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm not going to reward bad behavior.
Yeah, no free.
He stole my video.
media.
He took my video.
Took
He
your
lifted
video?
it. Yeah, he just stole it off the internet. I guess Facebook.
What, do
you
you
can
use
take
it? What, do you use it on his site?
I got to
or?
watermark my stuff because he just snatched that stuff, man. That's messed up. It's bad journalism, isn't it? Didn't even ask permission.
It's not really a journalist in the first place.
compliment, though.
Like,
It's a compliment.
Probably when you have that much opinion.
People don't steal stuff from you if they don't value it.
He says Gallagher grabbed the video and put it on YouTube. So here's the shortened version. Now, Gianna has a statement. She says, "It's a sad state of affairs when Americans cannot have honest conversations about timely issues such as police violence and the racist and prejudicial drug war, which is killing our youth without fear of political crucifixion by both political parties. The off-the-cuff conversation, which occurred in June in a parking lot, was not a prepared speech. I was not discussing a Middletown campaign platform. I was talking about issues that impact families in my community. My opponents held on to this information while they figured out how to hurt my candidacy, a move which clearly shows ulterior motives rather than being the forthright and honest people that they would have you believe they are. I do wish I had stated some points more clearly, given there is a distinction between each candidate's opinions and their joint platforms. My statements were an attempt to say that this is not an official campaign position, but I'm willing to have a side conversation with those present. To be clear, with this immature distraction, the incumbents, and unfortunately, my former running mate, Sean Burns, have moved the attention completely away from issues directly impacting families in Middletown and other communities. They do not want to talk about how taxes here keep going up, or that Middletown has become the cost-prohibitive, how ineffective drug treatment costs New Jersey taxpayers $1.2 billion a year with a 40% failure rate and skyrocketing overdose deaths. Yet jurisdictions have decriminalized and developed robust harm reduction that have nearly eliminated fatal overdoses. This is while our community, Middletown, ranks number 17 out of the top 30 heroin-using communities in New Jersey.
17?
Congratulations, Middletown.
17?
Yay. If we keep
Holy
doing things their way and not having these conversations, our youth will keep dying. With regards to my reference to police crime, Mayor Perry, who was calling for my resignation, is one of the biggest hypocrites who sat silent along with the Republican candidates Rick Hybel and Kevin Burrini when a Middletown police officer recently almost killed a New York resident while driving under the influence and fleeing the scene of a severe accident. I encourage people to take a deep breath and focus on what was actually said about police violence and not what people say was said. If we can't have an honest conversation about police, some of whom act criminally, then we are not protecting our citizens or the police who risk their lives for us. Middletown clearly wants to have these conversations as evidenced by the wildly successful Black Lives Matter event at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Monmouth County. Clearly one more issue of importance to the community ignored by the entrenched political powers. Over half the population in Middletown is female, yet women represent only 1/5 of our township committee, a gross underrepresentation. I am the only woman currently running. People have always come up with reasons to silence and push women out of politics. Just because I want to have tough conversations about difficult issues, some private, some public, doesn't mean I will be bullied out of this race by the very cowards who think they're in a better position to ignore these issues to the detriment of our community. Thank you, George.
God damn.
You know,
what
she said was Doug Stanhope used in a comedy routine. That was he would be asked, do you support the troops? And he says, I support almost all the troops, but there's some real assholes out there that probably deserve to die.
Look,
there's 100,000 people.
Jim.
Now, but wait a second. He said that, and when he got objection from a guy, he goes, okay, Sarge, you think that's not right? Okay, well, you take that beer that you work so hard to buy, go take it out and sit on the hood of your monster truck in the parking lot and drink that beer and find out how free you aren't. You know, and it's true. There are just a lot of in any segment, and you know what? In activism, and people that are medical cannabis activists, there are dickwads there too. I mean, there are not just there are cops that are not good. There are, in any class of people, there are going to be some that I would not support.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not a big fan of cops. I think,
but individuals, you know, up until today, as an example, the state police have treated me fair here for 5 years now. I get treated like shit this morning. You know, I mean,
here's one coming out. Oh shit!
You're in trouble.
No, but I got treated like shit by one this morning. I'll work that out later. I'm not going to work it out now. That it's time.
Listen, if you're a cop,
on the street?
If you're a cop shooting up in your car, that's criminal behavior. The cop, believe me, he needs help. He needs to go to get treatment, but that's criminal behavior. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. Those cops in Asbury Park, 2 cops are off duty. They are on bicycles. They sliced the tires of an activist, of a local activist who they didn't like.
Whose car?
An activist in Asbury Park. You can probably look it up. 2 off-duty cops on bicycles slashed his tires.
Randy?
That's criminal behavior.
I'm gonna have to get
Randy.
So,
I got a time limit.
Anyway, I support good cops. Because you have to support the good cops, because the bad ones are making the good ones
you
look
know,
bad.
again, although
there's always good
although
cops,
today,
the murder detective, homicide detective.
For the years we've been in Trenton, the state police have treated us fair, pretty much every step of the way, going by the rules, working with us. So, like, you know, they are. The guy was an exception to the rule I had to deal with this morning. You know, it was just that basically.
There's always like
the
good cops.
The vast majority understand why we're here and that we do have a right to be here, and they respect that. That it's a New Jersey constitutional right as well as the United States constitutional right.
I want to thank
First Amendment.
I want to thank your organization, cmmmnj.org, for supporting us and
you still like them?
Yeah, I always liked you guys. I'm just a jerk, Jim.
Nice.
You guys need to realize you got a jerk working on your team. I'm a team player, but I'm also a team jerk.
Yeah.
I'll hit those home runs for you, though.
Yeah.
CMMNJ.org, SativaCross.com, NewJerseyWeedman.com, MagicalButter.com, UFCW Local 152, DavidVersusAutism.org, Medical-Freedom.com, New Jersey Grannies for Grass, JacksonStorms.com, Arlo Glass, OprahMachine.com, Pure Puff Vapor Supply, Sativa Cross West. And our list is what we do every week, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. It's a very sad list, and this is why we do this. This list is very hurtful, but hopefully it's helpful and hopeful also, but it's extremely hurtful because we talked about Cheryl before. Cheryl Miller starts our list off. Jim's late wife, she has gotten us cannabis, selflessly got us cannabis to use here at the State House. And can't thank her enough. She inspired me to do what I do. A lot of you guys inspire me. Actually, you all inspire me. Sabina Rose, Diane, Gracie, Cindy Mae, Marie, Jack, Joan Ford. That's William's mother, and she had drop seizures, just like Melissa. Joan Ford had drop seizures, and William had to watch his mother have drop seizures. And he had to actually try to stop her from banging her head on the concrete, because her head would keep hitting the concrete, and it would keep hitting it, and William to watch this, and he'd have to stop his mom's head from hitting the concrete. At 5 years old. Randy Robertson had the Whipple procedure done. That's when they rip out all your organs. Before they gave him cannabis, they gave him the Whipple procedure. Before. They do that before brain surgery, too. They'll give you they'll take away half your brain of these kids with seizures before they give them cannabis. Before. Disgusting. They make a lot of money, though. That's the thing. They make a lot of money.
They pull organs out?
Yeah, the Whipple procedure. They give Randy Robertson the Whipple procedure, but they wouldn't give him medical cannabis.
What is the Whipple procedure?
They rip out all your organs because he had cancer. They just take everything out. Everything comes out.
How do you survive?
You don't. Machines and, yeah. And a lot of suffering, a lot of pain. But no cannabis for Randy Robertson. A friend came to his door one day and said, I got some oil for you. He's like, oil? Magic oil? And it helped him. But it was too late, too little too late. Polly Connolly, Bill Buckman used to come support. He's an attorney. Chad, Jeremy, Joanne's husband, Colette, Matt, Troy, Russ Perry. Roger Barber used to come out here, fight for his daughter's life. Jay Aletta was my friend. He died from a heroin overdose. He called me 2 weeks before he died looking for medical cannabis and how he could get on the program. And I told him, I gave him all the information, all the money he would need, and it was easier to go get a dime bag on the corner and ultimately die. But he wanted to get off. He was trying to get cannabis. People know that cannabis will get you off these opiates. We know it. We all know it. It's a lot of work. If it was easy, we'd all be doing it. Hattie Koshel, my grandma, Jackie Rickard, Anthony, Jake the Tank, who walked into his operation room, his OR. He wouldn't take the wheelchair. He wouldn't take the gurney. He walked in there and climbed up on the table and said, "Fix me, Doc." Armando, Felicia, Lynn, Dan, Sean, Joyce, Lori, Frank, Brian, Flo, Carl, Frank D. Toronto, my brother-in-law. My wife's still going through hell over this. She was crying last night because they're finding papers and pictures and stuff because they're going through his house and they're cleaning it out. So all his stuff is out on the front lawn now. So when his daughters drive by the house, all they see is all their old stuff on the front lawn. They don't go to the house anymore, but they see what their memories were, and it's this very sad, awful situation for everybody. Michael Dillon is Honeybee's son who had drop seizures. He died from a drop seizure. We talk about the seriousness of a drop seizure. He died from a drop seizure. He fell down and never woke up after 3 days. Never woke up. 25, 26 years old, young kid. He had a cannabis card, but he didn't have the access that he needed, and
but the grief remains.
Still to this day.
You know, mother never gets over that.
No, you don't get over that.
Doesn't just go away. You know, 5,000 medical marijuana patients have died while in the program right now. 5,000. What kind of pain is there? And when you couldn't access your amount that could have helped because of financial reasons, there's guilt beyond just having pain. Jim Wayne.
See you, Jim.
Jim Wayne is leaving the house. But anyway, it's the untold guilt of people who couldn't take care of somebody. You know how Cheryl's story was told through the point that she didn't have medicine more often than she did because she wouldn't smoke it. I'd make butter for her, and it took more than I could get at times. And she took her full amount and whatever it took to get full relief and then would be without. That was her choice, you know. But that's how you know how important something is when you run out, not when you're smiling and feeling good, you know. The most important thing Cheryl ever did was the first time she got arrested. Congressman came out to face the news, and said, I did say in a committee, in the Judiciary Committee, that I would make an exception for people who are like Cheryl, appear to be in Cheryl's condition. And that's what we wanted him to say. He would make an exception for people who look sick as she does. When you can't see a person day before they die sometimes, you can't see anything wrong with them. Willy-nilly, not without administrators making sure it isn't just people throwing stuff up, and then it comes on in, that it will feed on itself. That will be
that was
viral.
a really innovative
it's gonna happen.
You were saying your website of like video feed of people.
Among other things, but it's the questions.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's a great idea.
People say
it's
could
like 21st century. It's very modern.
Okay.
It's very modern versus like papers and
but we have
photographs.
that technology. But here's the scary part: is it's so gonna work, and I'll tell you why. Because legislators look at it in one way, and I sometimes have a way of jumping into their ugly skin sometimes and feeling like them for a little bit. But what's going to bother them is anybody can go to this website and see their constituents begging for help from him.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and what is his response? Oh, it says on the website, no response. So he's seen this. We brought it to his attention. You can't make him look, maybe. But the point is he knows everybody else is seeing it. So you can't just let it hang there. It's not safe politically. It's not good PR.
No, it's not. So that's why it's going to be like
and the time we just discussed that, 2 more people would have just sent something in saying, and sometimes when and my husband, and he won, then he goes without it, and you get that and understand that it's going to be at times a snippet taked out of a conversation, and people send it in and say use it or don't. If we can, we will.
Nice.
But it works that you will then have people in all 40 districts. They will have a constituent saying the things we've been hearing for years. There's no reason to keep that. And like I say, do the math. A picture is worth 1,000 words. That's Mitch Hedberg. I just try to. It's almost his style, If a picture is worth 1,000 words. And a video is worth 1,000 pictures. Do the math. The video's worth 1,000,000 words. It's 6 zeros. It's a lot of words. And it gets heard with a look. You want to know the most powerful one I ever saw? I didn't see the guy's face. He was skinny. He had wispy hair. They did that shadow photography. You could hear it in his voice. I never saw his face. I cried from what he was saying. And I never saw his face. Powerful. If I'm a legislator and something like that is on a website and you see that powerful voice and all they want to know is something simple like why was it taken out, or are we going to get rid of the rest of the sales tax immediately with this bill? That's also going to be part of it. It's still here. It's been reduced.
Yeah.
Not this year. But I'll tell you,
Thank you.
The idea of bringing it in video snippets, I know if I can see something that'll make me feel and actually against my will bring moisture to my eye when I don't want it there, that I know it can be done. And if an assemblyman sees that and all they want is what the Senate promised them with a 22-16 vote, and then they were told, we're going to take care of this, we'll get to you, down the road. It was a discussion. Nick Scutari said something about we have to do this first, and we will be getting to that, though.
So that's the question then. Can we actually do it? Can we do homegrown maybe after, we get adult use? Because you got to figure that the size of New Jersey's market is not like proportionate to like the length of time that it's been a market. Like it was so tiny under Christie.
We got to do homegrown
relative to the state.
We're going to do it. And it can be done now.
So
only because it's not going to get done. And you know who's pissed?
So that'll be interesting to see when it gets done.
You know where some of our help's going to be now? There's a lot of people that know we might get legalization, but it will be without home grow. And now that they've accepted, okay, it's going to be without home grow, will they be more likely to help patients get their home grow? I say yes, because that's the microcosm.
You got to figure like you can build on it. There's got to be some legislative champion at least then for like the issue of home grow Do you have a sponsor?
Copy and paste.
No, I'm asking about a sponsor.
I'm looking.
Of a
There's a list.
specific
There's a list
legislator
of
like
14,
Jim Beach,
14
Nacho,
potential sponsors right there.
Ruiz,
That's a to go.
Scutari,
I got that at home. That's yours.
Yep.
You don't have to write that down. You take that with you.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
That's yours.
Dan, you're going to the Democratic convention tonight. Have fun.
Thank you.
Have a blast.
Enjoy, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It should be great.
Oh, it'll be interesting. Definitely so after this.
John, thanks
take
for
some
the
pictures.
John, thanks for the sandwiches. That was great. Good looking out.
Yeah, man.
Slav, thanks for coming. Jamie, awesome. Thanks for the sandwiches. You bringing those somewhere else now, or?
Maybe I'll save the stuff that's not perishable for next
Okay, what? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I said maybe I will save the stuff that's not perishable for next week and pass out the perishable stuff.
What's in there? I didn't even look. I was just grabbing John's food.
In the bag is a fruit and juice cup.
Oh,
I'm
grabbing one of those. Yeah.
A cereal bar, a soft cereal bar.
Oh, okay. I'm all over that. Thank you.
Some cookies, a ham and cheese, or a turkey and cheese.
What? Oh, all right.
Veritable feast here.
This is great. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You fed a few people, actually. I saw you were feeding a bunch of people.
I'm like not sure what to think. I'm happy that there's not so many homeless people, but there's usually, I brought 20. There's usually
we see more usually.
People.
Yeah, we usually see a
to
lot
pass
more.
out
Slow
food.
day? Damn.
Yeah, it
well,
was a slow
maybe that
day.
means that they're fed and that's good.
Good. Good. Well, they don't know to come. Maybe we'll let them know now.
Yeah.
Free food. Put up a sign, free food.
Well,
Friend,
actually,
I've been arrested for feeding the homeless.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What?
Listen,
What?
Oh, a lot of people don't know
Why?
you can't do that.
What? You can't?
We can't do that. When we do it, we're breaking
I'm
the law.
like, hey, friend.
Oh, now we have to
Do you
set
hear
up like
me? You don't hear
now
me
we have
when
to
I
set
want
up
to
a
end the show, but
restaurant.
now we can't end the show.
Now we have to set up
What
a
the hell
restaurant.
are you talking
God
about?
damn, now we got to set up a
Are you
restaurant.
serious?
I
We gotta
say,
get
hey,
deals
friend,
for
and make sure I get their
supplies.
name, that
Are you
I know
kidding
them,
me?
because if not, I've been arrested.
Yeah, the son of the guest book. What the fuck is this?
That's awful.
Well,
What the fuck is
I
this?
feed a homeless person?
I've been explained that it's supposedly to protect the
What is he,
homeless
like a
people
pigeon? Yeah.
in case there's like some crazy person going around trying to poison all the homeless people.
No,
or
now we got to
something.
set up a restaurant.
Yeah,
So
right.
they
We'll set up the restaurant
they,
Thanksgiving,
they say
though,
that it's
so-
for their protection.
Can't we
Now we're
just give
definitely
them?
doing
Can't we
Thanksgiving
just
here.
give them
Or,
a
like,
black
that's-
box warning
Well,
with all
the thing
giveaways?
is, there's
Now I really
like
wanna do
food
Thanksgiving.
sanitation
You
and
know, right there,
handling for distribution of food. I guess
that.
maybe if someone
Oh,
weren't
man.
keeping things
Now
cold,
we have to set up a
or-
restaurant.
That's why people do peanut butter and jelly a lot, because it doesn't require refrigeration. Well, actually,
We killed
Thy
Lefty.
Kingdom Crumb, Wentz
Yeah,
from the
good name.
Eagles,
Peanut butter.
he actually did like a loophole. So he has a food truck, which has all the food handling, sanitation, all the inspection.
There it is.
And they go around as a food truck, and everything's for free.
Yeah, there it is.
But yeah,
That's good.
when we do food in Camden,
That's
you
like
can
the re-
totally get arrested.
The relief bus does that. Is that the relief bus?
But they probably have
Same thing.
certifications and inspections.
Yeah, they go to homeless areas and they feed people
Yeah, but
for
you
free.
you could be totally arrested for passing out food today.
Yeah, they.
I was actually going to say,
now we have
like,
to set up like we have to definitely set up like a food cart.
Yeah,
at
now we
least.
gotta start
God
giving
damn
away.
it.
Yeah, we gotta start doing that
I
now.
don't have any food on me. All right,
so
give
we
him
need a
Tic
sign
Tac.
that says, "Hey friend, are you hungry?"
You just broke the law then. You just broke the law.
Oh, fuck.
I was actually
Fuck.
more nervous. I have
no.
no problem coming here and smoking all the weed in the world. That's fine. You see me, I like light a joint after joint.
By the way,
But I'm worried about passing food out to the homeless.
just-
That was more my
Yeah,
concern.
passing a joint's fine. Passing food, no, that's scary. And you're right.
well, you're
Yeah.
in the fate program then, I guess.
You were arrested for that.
Yeah, 3 times.
3 times.
Today would have been 4. I was feeling it. I don't know. I've had a odd little time period.
But
Nice.
this is a patient gathering. and
It's
we're-
not over yet. I'm feeling it. I was really feeling like I was gonna get arrested for feeding the homeless today.
It's like a pigeon. Like don't feed the pigeon.
Well, it's not over. I did say I was gonna try to find somewhere to go distribute stuff that's left over.
Okay.
So maybe I will.
Jeez.
All right. Well, hashtag they shall grow.
They shall grow.
They shall grow. Boy, that's arrested for feeding people that are needy.
That's
and starving.
insane.
Wow,
That's
that's
insane.
anti-Christian. Totally, it's disgusting.
It's another example. Oh no, shut today.
That's just awful. That's the worst thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
Do I look like it hurt anything?
Well, maybe. Not a homeless person, but maybe your boyfriend.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
All right, here we go. Hashtag they shall grow. They shall grow not old as we